confident.
Yeah.
You know, in Singaporean terms, we call it kanjiong a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit kanjiong spider in me, but I guess, you know, back home, if you guys are cheering for RSG, definitely, you know, spam the chat, spam any groups that you are in, RSG, GG, RSG. But of course, fan in S11, of course, please support your team.
We're talking about the fans online, but what about the fans right here in Tennis Indoor? For both RSG and S11, they're here ready to hype their teams up.
Definitely.
And looking at it, it does feel like, again, we got to talk a little bit about the drafts, how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
Because for both these teams, I feel like S11 and RSG are very one-dimensional in the drafts.
So in combination with the fact that the meta game right now is that we have kind of limited pool when it comes to like choices for XP laners, that's going to be a problem for both RSG as well as S11 because they share S11, correct? Because they share a small pool of XP laners, the Fredrin, the Benedetta, and the Glue.
To be honest with you, Diablo in the MPL stage, he's been almost playing Esmeralda all throughout. But if you notice, even throughout M4 meta, Esmeralda was nowhere to be found, even though you see Phobias being picked in the XP lane thus far. Because there's a lot of prioritization towards the Yuzhong, a lot of prioritization towards Lapu Lapu, and that could be a problem for Diablo.
There's a lot of like Nook mages as well. For both teams, the successful heroes that they have will be between like Beatrix and Xavier for both. So that is also a contested pick. Now that the carry and the 1-1 has been banned, we would expect that the Beatrix will be one of the priorities for both these teams.
Yes, well mentioned there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go into the drafting phase right now. Personally, I always believe 75% of the fights are won in the drafting phase. It's about picking up the right tools for the right job. And right now, both of these two teams, they need to try to ban away what is required and that the tools they do not want to see on stage.
You can already see the respect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when we watched the upper brackets, we saw that in game one, a lot of the teams, they opt to go just for the regular bans, the prio bans, read out your opponents. But now in the lower brackets, it's a best of three, not a best of five. You can't risk losing that first game, especially considering that, you know, for both of these teams, momentum is very,
100%.
very important. So Lolita ban, the glue ban that we mentioned earlier, but now it does leave S11 Gaming with the first pick. And honestly, they can go for a lot of different heroes here.
Kaja,
Yves.
Yves is also there. Knowing S11 though, they have now picked Kaja, but they did pick up Fredrin as well as the... no, actually, they didn't pick Eve. They only picked Eve 1, so this might be not the priority.
Yeah, you're mentioning it. The first pick a Benedetta, but once again, the best part about a first pick, you can pick a Kaja, you can go for the Fredrin, you want to surprise your opponent with these flex picks. However, a Benedetta, technically a flex, could mostly go into the XP lane. In some rare cases, in certain parts of the meta, you can bring it to the jungle.
This will be the first time that S11 will actually deploy the Benedetta. That's why I'm surprised about it. They did ban out the Lolita, which is also twice picked by RCSG out of their 3 games. Now, I would expect that the answer for RCSG might be somewhere along the lines of Eve and Claude, or like Eve and Beatrix, together with maybe Fredrin also as a choice. Diablo finished second in the MPL SG Seasons 1 and 2, and finally won the champion Season 4 with the Finals MVP award.
Okay, big news right here, ladies and gents. MPL Singapore, Lozy is very, very comfortable with this show. I would argue it is one of his signature picks back at home. But apart from that, the Martyrs is also picked up by the side of RSG, something that Bray has used in other world stages. However, is that what I heard, Wolf?
Oh man, we didn't see the Eve along the group stages, but now, like we mentioned, right? Maybe S11, after losing the 2 games, or just the first game against the Valley, they started to just hide their strategies. Now that's finally coming out again in the lower brackets. We didn't get to see the Eve. For the mid lane, it does feel like they have gone for more of these aggressive kind of mid laners like the Kadita. But now with Eve in their hands, they're going to be able to control that mid lane really well, put some pressure down, and the poking and utility coming in from this pick is going to be massive, especially up against the Cho and the Martis that we mentioned earlier. That is going to be quite a threat, right? To end up the drafts, they pick up a Lilia, which is a pick that we haven't seen a lot here at M4.
Yeah, and Burko and Wolf, just to let you know, this is basically comfort zone for RSG. Fire on the Lilia, Lozy on that Cho, Gray on that Martis, these three heroes. Technically, RSG is just showing, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna burst you down very quickly, create this zone of area of denial. And then, you know, the Martins could come in, use the fact that I'm immune to all the CCs. I'm going to try to take away these neutral objectives. On the other hand, S11 Gaming, I feel like their team, both, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like it's very team fight based.
Yeah, they definitely want a team fight as well as punish whoever is in front. Which, if you think about it, looking at the composition of SE11, they want to utilize this Grok in the front lines, and then they kind of connected together, so they want to combo their Wild Charge into the real world manipulation, and this makes the Lilia pick so much more stronger. Also, they want to have a lot of laning presence. Lilia is one of the best laning mages out there. Martis is gonna be one of the, I would say, faster junglers, if you think about it. And of course, the choke can make the early plays, which kind of tells me that RSG SG, just like how they faced Occupy Thrones, they want to finish this fast.
Yes, they want to finish this fast. They're most of these heroes that they pick currently, Power Spike at level 4. Well, technically, except for Lilia, Power Spike at level 1 because you can just shove your lane and then provide support from the rest of the sides. Apart from that, I'm looking at a lot of marksman bans. Take a look. RSG has already taken away my favorite Leslie, and S11 bans away the clock. Another thing I played.
Oh man, and on top of that, you already have the Wan that was banned earlier and the
that's
carry,
your favorite.
right? My favorite too coming out. So there's already 4 marksman bans in total here by both of the teams. RSG banning 2, S11 banning 2. This leaves open just a few other marksmen that's been really showing up in M4.
Yep.
You know, this is weird. Harith. It's non-marksmen that are actually now up for grabs for both S11 and RSG. But from S11, it does feel like they have a little bit more to play with. Meanwhile, Baby Cakes, I think if S11 goes for the Beatrix ban, we're going to really see Baby Cakes struggle in the gold lane. He banned out the Irithel, a pick that I was about to save for Kai that has worked for him.
Well, it will definitely work for S11, but at the same time, RCSG wants to take that as well. I'm really curious on what they will choose now. Maybe they will go back to the Harith, but that means that they will have an overload when it comes to the magic damage and maybe some true damage, but they will lack in physical. I'm sure that the Martis will not build up damage, want to build up sustain, so that might be a problem now for RG Singapore. That's why I really find this very confusing and why they opted to go for the ban on the Earthom. Maybe they are interested in taking the Beatrix instead.
Maybe they might just want to actually, like, for S11, looking at that, it's time to ban the Beatrix, right? You know exactly what RSG are going for.
Yeah, but I mean, if you are RSG, during the group stages, Baby Cakes has pulled out a lot of Beatrixes. Baby Cakes, his prime, you know, trademark is that he likes to go towards these late game marksmen, right? He likes to play safe. Well, technically, a Beatrix could play it safe with the Renner shots, but I feel like Beatrix is not really his comfort. He's better at, you know, the 1-1 when he was superior in the MPL SG stage, but now it is the bans going in to be locked in by the side of S11 is going to be banning out the Lapu Lapu.
I think at this time, right, at this point, if you're RSG, you really need to get that gold laner onto your hands.
Yes,
because it's going to be really risky to let this go, considering that, again, yes, Baby Cakes likes to carry into that late stage. They go for the Beatrix here, and it just, it has to be, right? With all these gold lane bans, it's just very, very evident that they need to pick this up. But now for S11, looking at their bans, it does feel like they want to play into this. They wanted Baby Cakes to pick up that Beatrix. Why? That's the main question I have in my head right now.
Maybe they want to go for the Yuzhong, but they already have the Benedetta. They need to find someone that can dive through the Beatrix as well as output the damage to kind of burst down this Lilia, because you don't want this Lilia to have a chance to reset the stacks and reset his charges of the glooms, right? So you wanna find an XP laner or maybe a jungler that can burst together with a marksman, maybe a Clint or a Harith. That's the only 2 heroes that I can think about. Maybe Brody if you're thinking about burst.
The arts.
Oh, well, they go for a
Not only
Granger.
does that, Merkel Wolf will be seeing another Granger match. I believe he's only picked once, and I think it's also by S11.
Falcon.
A Falcon, right?
Falcon.
Taking a leave from another team. They are adapting, and this is exactly what we want to see on a world stage.
I love it.
Love it. But then again, it exposes like the Yuzhong pick, for example, for RSG Singapore, because now you have a anti-marksman composition. You have burst with a Lilia, burst with the Beatrix. I think it's telegraphed. The way that this happened for the side of SA Onse, they banned out Lapu Lapu. Surely that's a anti-marksman, anti-Eve, but that left open the Yu Zhang, and they kind of exposed their draft. The way that I see this is they picked up the Brody and the Granger because we were looking for a burst, right? You want to take down the Lilia as soon as possible, and that fits the bill. However, that opened their draft to a Yu Zhang answer, which is now all of a sudden a very valuable pick.
That back line is going to be very, very vulnerable to the engage from, like you mentioned, the Yu Zhang, but on top of that, the Cho, and even to a certain extent, the Martis and Lilia. Remember, this is such a dynamic draft from RSG that can dive to the back line, but can also play it front to back. That's what S11 needs to get under their win condition, right? They need to understand that before they get into game and before they head on for these skirmishes, especially early game, where the Granger is very susceptible to those ganks.
All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, the first match of the day, it is RSG going up against S11. This is a best of 3. Loser will need to go home.
It's gonna be about the burst potential coming out from Eseonce, the way that they should be comboing up their 2 marksmen. But for the side of RSG Singapore, if they play this correctly, if they play team fight, play objectively, it will be an easier game for them, at least in execution. But of course, execution is different, you know.
You can already see early on how they've opted to actually play out the lanes here is with a leash, right? The Brody helping out the Granger, and also on top of that, Erwin was actually able to just buy some time in the gold lane by putting the wall down, but it does seem like right now it is RSG who are pushing the pace. With 505 and Bray already in an enemy jungle, this is what you need to do up against something like a Granger.
Yeah, Lozi really need to use the fact that the Cho could be very annoying against the enemy jungle, but Erwin on the other hand, as that Grok could be annoying as well. The first skill does a lot of damage, so it's up to RSG to make sure that Bray gets to level 4 untouched. Once he unlocks the decimation, start going for this early, turtle objective. We saw in the team head-to-head earlier, right, Wolf? The fact that RSG really prioritized these neutral objectives very quickly. However, S11 though, they are bloodthirsty.
I'm gonna be feeling it for RSG Singapore. They need to make Lilia reach level 4 as soon as possible, the first turtle fight, which kind of tells me that Eseonce might consider getting Erwin to his ultimate fast. So maybe they put him in the mid lane and then put the Eve in the top lane so that they will have 2 ultimates available, the real world manipulation as well as the wild charge. That is their key if they do want to contest the first turtle.
Yeah, but Wolf, I feel like right now, if you notice the rotation of S11, is trying to walk towards the turtle. Baby Cakes on the other hand, being the late game marksman, would love to stay in lane. But now RSG, S11, they're actually gearing up for the fight right here. Look at that, Bray's already on that turtle for now.
Jotun finally getting that level 4, has the ultimate, but Bray and Lolzy are controlling it. Lolzy jumping in, that's going to be the final blow to the back line. Is Papa Dog's going to be able to find that, but the Petrify connects by Diablo onto Jotun, who's still committing onto the turtle. That was reset perfectly by RSG. S11 still going at it. They want to look for it. The steal will not come down for Papa Dog as Lolzy is able to use the Way of the Dragon to zone Papa Dog away.
Wolf, do you see that? I thought it was like, what? They're putting so much damage on top of the turtle, but the turtle somehow just doesn't refuses die. It's like an Estes healing that turtle. Do you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. And whoever made that play, I don't know if it's intended, like crazy amount of planning for that one, or maybe it's just happenstance, but either way, it worked in favor of RSG Singapore, who had the better experience. Now, I'm not talking about actual experience, I'm talking about in-game experience, where Lolzy already had his ultimate up, he had the flicker, he didn't manage to land it on a good hero, but then again, they still managed to get their position and settle a territory around the turtle area. Unfortunately for Eseonce, they had to use Jotun in the mid lane, the jungler, so that he'll get to his ultimate. And that meant that Erwin will not have his. They didn't have wild charge in that team fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could have went wrong for S11 went wrong. RSG already just somehow did that weird turtle reset. And they've also got their items in. Just now I saw Baby Cakes already slowly waiting towards... Oh, Diablo!
2v1, able to find a trade, but Jotun gets the kill back on top. He doesn't go for the turret gold up in the XP lane, however, which is very, very interesting here. Still respecting the other RSG members. They're not visible on the map, but let's take a look at the emblems now.
Yeah. Surprised to see a Weapon Master for the Brody, because typically you want to go for a killing spree.
Yeah.
But I guess they want to just take over the early game as soon as possible, which kind of it kind of speeds up your damage output if you're the Brody. And they do want to go for the burst. That's what we're talking about. That's probably why they chose the Weapon Master over anything else.
Yeah, correct. I feel like the Grandeur already has that big burst. That's why you give the Killing Spree over to the Grandeur, the Weapon Mastery over to that Brody. The Brody, technically speaking, is like a, this is not a short-term plan that S11 wants that Brody. Kai needs to go for that mile. He's constantly landing down those auto attacks as the second turtle has spawned.
With the second turtle, it comes down again to that control. And in the mid lane so far, it has been RSG. But right now in the 4th minute, S11 has actually been able to clear the mid lane first. But you can see the adaptation from RSG. Amazing turtle reset towards their side. As now, the mini waves are going to be crashing again into the mid lane. Erwin still in the front, getting the wall down as Papa Dog jumps in, but is going to be cancelled out as that's going to be Chan who picks up the turtle. Bray going to be caught. That's a lot of damage. The turtle pop memory finishes him off as Lolzy tries to run away, but Kai is going to be able to take the damage down, to pick the double kill up, and to equalize and take the lead back for Argentina.
S11 literally stabilized a very dire early game. Now RSG on the back foot right here. Look at how S11 is actually punishing Baby Cakes. Real one manipulation. Oh no, it doesn't connect on top of Baby Cakes.
Unfortunately for RSG Singapore, they weren't able to utilize their biggest team fight ultimate, which is the Dragon 4 coming out from Diablo. That's why SA11 found a big opening, and they can burst the turtle so easily because of their double marksman setup. Well, because of the Brody's damage and the Weapon Master, you saw him critting over 1,000 damage onto the turtle. And of course, Jotun being a Granger can really burst that turtle down so easily. And that's why SA11 was able to just establish territory this time. A great recovery from the Argentinian squad.
Ice Cream 1 already built for the side of Chan. We notice Jotun has already started to take more resources away from RSG. Bray has already completed Hunter Strike, so that could be a pulse spike. He needs to try to play around that. Unfortunately, S11, Jotun is a grandeur. The early game aggression that S11, they're looking for the kills, they're looking for these small little objectives, and they're looking really good.
What is that stat line? Well, remember, S11 only won 1 game in the groups, and Kai has only suffered 2 deaths this M4. That's insane.
That is insane. To think that they are losing the games and they're actually playing like long games as well, like 14, the north of 14 and 15 minutes. And
aggressive comps.
Aggressive comps. This is
impressive
amazing.
positioning.
Very impressive coming out from Kai, and never doubt his choices now. Brody is proving to be a good pick for SA11.
Yeah, but I think, going down this real world manipulation super early on, that big team fight ultimate is going to go on cooldown, especially when the third turtle, the last turtle, that will spawn very quickly. RG, on the other hand, they're desperately trying to shove that way, but Chen, using that real world manipulation, cleared it off, leaving Fall 5 with only a bit of HP left.
Well, we'll see. Once again here with the mid lane control, S11 have the priority on the turtle. Lolzy trying to find an opening here as he pops the conceal, but it's going to be cancelled out. Lolzy going to be able to find the flicker, but it's going to be stunned up now. That's been the retribution by Bray. Jotun going to be caught. Has a detonata, but it's going to fall towards Diablo, who's able to dive into the back line. Bray with a decimation 2 finds another, and it's a 2-for-1. It's only the roamer falling for RSG, and they've taken a turtle.
Good news over the side for RSG. Don't forget, they entered the team fight 4 versus 5. It is Firefight that need forced to go back and reset. However, because S11, they don't have the real world manipulation, opting to use it to clear the waves right off the bat. They don't have that big mega control. And don't forget, Lolzy coming in at a nice angle right there, Wolf.
Yeah,
going in, knock up 3, that is good enough.
I definitely want to attribute that to the experience that RSG has outside of the game, because that was wonderful positioning from Lolzy.
Uh-oh, 505 going to be caught here. Doesn't have the black shoes to get out. A good snipe by Baby Cakes, but Kai, again, going to be able to find that kill. Baby Cakes with 1 more hit. Kai's going to be punished, overstayed just a bit. And Baby Cakes, when you give it an inch, he takes a mile. That's Kai's 3rd death in this tournament.
That's exactly what we want to see from Baby Cakes, right? Beatrix finally popping off. I'm really happy for him. Don't forget, he's also playing with somewhat of a disadvantage. He's not on stage right now, unfortunately, but he will be playing from the hotel because of COVID.
You know, what we saw from back-to-back instances where RSG won is the difference between the experience of the 2 teams. The first fight is Lolzy as well as Diablo made the S11 panic, and you see Jotun just desperately try to secure that turtle. Unfortunately, they didn't have the advantage. And afterwards, you saw Kai. He was so desperate into clearing that wave that he sacrificed his life. In exchange for 1 cart, 1 cannon, he lost his life and claimed his third death.
Yeah, we've seen how damaging one auto attack is. Now we've seen how damaging one siege minion is right now. Now the map state a little bit reset. Just taking a look at the kill lead, 5v5. In terms of the goal lead, not too far apart, but the first lot has spawned.
I think for me, S11, right? The main mistake that they've been doing right now is they're not utilizing the early lead that Kai has. Baby Cakes has equalized and at this point is actually ahead of Kai. That's gonna be Lolzy who finds the way the dragon with the Deep No Flicker. Everyone's gonna fall. The Torrent Part member is gonna be able to punish one member down. Diablo's gonna dash. He gets the Petrify onto two members. Zones the back line. Meanwhile, Kai and Papa Dog able to find a double kill. Jotun still trying to find Diablo right now as the other members comes in as well. Diablo gonna fall. It's a 3-for-2 for the Argentinians. And just like you mentioned, Jays, the Lord is up.
S11, this is the time for them to try to take the one Lord away. That is a neutral objective that they don't usually prioritize, and now they're learning, they're adapting. RG, on the other hand, they fall a little bit too far. It is Diablo that overextended a little bit too far, and I have to admit, S11 using Kai and also Papa Dog to zone out the rest of RSG, that's insane, as S11 took this Lord uncontested.
Yeah. That is the skirmish that I call exchange of prisoners, wherein you kind of like, trade your explainers. The opposing explainers goes for your backlines and your explainer goes to the opposing backlines. Unfortunately for RC Singapore, after the fact that the Dragon Form is over, you don't have that teamfight integrity anymore. Whereas if you're looking for the Benedetta, there's infinite amount of damage you can get. And as they also just won that skirmish because they have the better firepower or more sustainable firepower compared to RC Singapore.
Just now when the item was showing Kai's BOD, Legion, anything that has like, it gives you attack damage, he's already have it. This Weapon Master, S11, Kai needs to be respected. Just take a look at how fast he's just dismantling RSG one by one in terms of these turrets. It's looking very bleak for RSG.
It just, as I said, right, I felt like Kai wasn't utilizing the early lead, and just right there, he pops it, has the mid-game power spike, he goes in with the team, and that's what they need to do. Ray is going to be actually taken low here with the real world inflation, and the Death Sonata that's going to be able to find it. Everyone's flickering forward to find a wild charge, as Lolzy falls as well. Diablo has the Petrify, gets Jotun up, but Kai in the back line is going to be able to free hit. Baby Cakes going to lose a lot of HP, but Kai's going to be able to flicker out. Winner nature by Baby Cakes. Papa Dog diving in, again, dealing a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough to take the rest of the RSG members down. It's a 2-for-2, but the Lord is munching on the turret. Meanwhile, Papa Dog gets the tier 2 down in the mid lane, and RSG are still going to be able to defend for the base turrets.
Wonderful defense coming up from RC Singapore if you think about it. However, as Young said, just found the opening. I think this is because of Papa Dog's initiation from the backlines. And this is not the first time that Papa Dog has impressed us. Even Mirko casted them outside of M4, and he's already making wonders. I think he learned a lot from that tournament, and now he's flexing it all over RC Singapore.
Yeah, Brute Force breastplate already being built by the side of the Jotun. That's why Diablo is unable to find the targeted person down quickly before he could do any collateral damage. The fact that, you know, Chan land down the real world manipulation catching 2, that's technically a big stun. Allows Jotun just land down the Death Sonata. However, the kick, wrong side. Lolzy will be able to shove up a dog away. But wait, Erwin's in the back line.
It's a misplay here by both Lolzy and Erwin, but it's Erwin who gets punished down. Jotun looking for a play. That's the real world manipulation. Locking Baby Cakes down as the Death Sonata comes down as well. Baby Cakes flickering out and getting back to safety. Man, it was just out of vision. Lolzy wanted to get the flicker down to get behind, and on top of that, Erwin, he wanted to capitalize, but he just couldn't.
It's very difficult to beat Erwin in this game, actually, because this is like a second pick rock. And you can see RSG Singapore, they have so many answers to that. Even just the presence of the Lilium as well as the Beatrix make it so difficult for Erwin to initiate with the Wild Charge without the flickers. That's really what happened in there too.
That's right. 10 seconds. It's going to be the Lord has spawning very, very soon right now. S11 is actually mostly doing the fight in RSG side of the map. But wait, here comes the Death Sonata.
Lolzy's got to be careful here. That's a lot of damage being placed onto him. That's the Rover though. That's a big ultimate burnt down. 1-for-0. Jotun almost just bursting 505 down. Baby Cakes looking for a snipe, but S11 right now, 3.3k gold lead. They're on the Lord with a one-man advantage.
Erwin locking away Bray, not even allowing him to step into the Lord pit. He could just go in and try to take the steal, but the RSG decides to give it up over to S11, and this is looking very bad.
A wonderful Lord dance that was choreographed by SA Onse. You might not have noticed it, but it was actually Papa Dog to going for the longer lane. So the top lane is called the long lane when the Lord is on the bottom lane. And that is how they managed to disperse RSG Singapore. RSG had to think about their lane up top and also the Lord. Well, S11, that's the reason why they committed the real-world manipulation outside of the Lord, because they know that if they fend off RSG Singapore, if they poke RSG Singapore, RSG will not have any shot at taking the Lord.
That's right. If you noticed earlier, right now, if you take a look, it's damage dealt mostly by Chan with the real-world manipulation, right? And not only just that, as Yonsei is also sending this Lord all the way down top. It is very vulnerable. RSG technically do have, the B-Tricks, the Bandit's Rage with the bombs as well, should be able to help to clear out the wave. However, RSG, they need to make a play. It's all up to Lozy to be able to pick up the right targets at the right time, like how he did in the earlier parts of the game.
That's the siege coming down as S11 finds the base turret. Bray gonna be zoned away. Lolzy trying his best to look for that Jikundo, but it's gonna be punished in the end. That's a flicker forward. Kai almost finding the kill out to Bray, who's still gonna be able to get out. Kai dealing a whole lot of damage to 505. His baby cakes here is not gonna be able to defend the mid lane turret. Erwin flickers forward, finds the wild charge, and that's the Petrify to follow through. But in the back line as well, RSG are gonna be able to find the two marksmen from S11. Erwin gonna fall to the decimation as that's gonna be Bray picking up a triple kill. They're looking for the Maniac. Bray is walking them down. Papa Dog and Chan able to get out with the utilities. Lolzy jumps in, not able to find the Jikundo. Chan still just kiting back, dealing damage. Lolzy forced to back away. RSG have won, but they lost 3 base turrets.
It's a very expensive loss, Wolf. RSG, that was a good defense, but they need more. You saw how hard it is for Lolzy to just step forward, and you saw how confident Kai is on this Brody. I think this is like a hidden ace in the sleeve.
Yeah. And Baby Cakes just survived long enough. After the initiation coming out from Erwin, there's some hesitation coming out from S11, but imagine if they chain together their Benedetta, Purify, and Electro Final Blow with the Wild Charge, and of course the real world manipulation, there will be no chance for Baby Cakes to survive. He did survive because of the Wind of Nature, and because of the fact that he got out of the real world manipulation, but it would have been the death of RSG Singapore had it not been that Baby Cakes was able to survive. And S11, surely they are executing properly, but they need to be more coordinated in those pushes. Still, RSG Singapore on the back foot.
That's the Petrify, and that's Papa Dog getting out. That's the damage coming through from Kai's. He's
Oh
gonna
my
be able to
goodness.
actually dish him down. Both Baby Cakes and Lolzy falls down. Diablo trying to find the saving grace here, but Kai's gonna be able to stun him up.
no.
The Petrify will not be able to save him. Diablo gets the immortality in time, but now in a 3v1, it is Chan who picks up a triple. 505 gonna be sandwiched here by both Jolton and Erwin. That's 505 still cutting away. Jolton gonna be caught low. 505 versus the world, and it's a maniac for Chan. S11, the Argentinians are looking for the end.
Chan, the real world manipulation is so crazy, and it just does Bray left, and they're gonna have to try to fight this.
Torn apart memory by Kai to zone him away. S11 strike first in the lower brackets in a best of 3 up against the Singaporean champions.
GG well play over to S11. The Argentinian fans must be cheering, even though everyone was voting against them. They showed us, oh, we are wrong.
What a great maneuver coming out from S11. It all started with Papa Dog just baiting them out, so they formed a circle. It's an outer circle versus inner circle thing, where the outer circle is S11. They invited the inner circle, which was RSG Singapore, inside their own territory. They took them out one by one. The phalanx of Argentina was so good, and the maneuver allowed them to take the full team wipe.
S11, what they did in this game was just punish, right? They continuously just punished RSG SG right now. And as you can see, RSG SG, it feels like, we mentioned this in the draft, they had a more multi-dimensional draft, right? Where they could actually dive, they could front and back, and they could also just play it sieging down the turrets. But they did not do that. Instead, they just went for fights, and they followed Lolzy into a lot of these crazy engages that just did not work out for them.
Yeah, I just feel like, S11, man, that was a really good game.
Yeah.
Beating down RSG Singapore, but of course, we gotta talk about M4 Battle Night that's going live this January 21st. Expect loads of events and rewards up for grabs in-game. So what do you have to do? First off, complete battle tasks in-game on January 21st to get a skin choice chest. You can choose the skin that you like from the chest, and the best part is there's a Stellaris Ghost skin. And aside from that, battle bonus awaits you on the same day. Play the matches and you'll get a team star protection for 3 matches, double star raising points, double the protection points, double the XP, and double the BP for 5 matches. And of course, we're not stopping here. Free access to every single heroes in the Land of Dawn and loads of epic skins will be available on that very same day. So save that date, log in to the game on January 21st, enjoy the match with tons of rewards. Let's all celebrate and for a championship together, including with your friends.
I just can't get over the fact that there was the chemistry coming out from SAONs is really showing up this game. There were times that there was a little bit of a blunder. There were mistakes made for sure, but when they win the fights, they look really good.
They look really good as well. But who else is looking very good as well? It is going to be our analyst, Dave, Leo, Gideon. Take us through the draft.
Uno más, mi amigos. Uno más por S11. Welcome to the analyst stand. At your service, my name is Leo, joined here by my amigos. This is Dave and that's Gideon. Let's first talk about the draft. RSGSG looked solid to start, but S11 seems to have found a way to make the double marksman lineup work.
Honestly, the Super League has really impressed me so far, and especially the talents that's coming out of the Latam region. They continue to progressively get good. But this particular draft was interesting because when we look at it, my goodness, it is just alt and then the Yves. It's just every single movement you think you can get ahead, you just can't. You can't leave that real world manipulation without dying.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about how synergized this ultimate, how deadly it can be if they used in synchronization, and that's exactly what S11 did. It seems like in game 1, they are the team that's more open, more brave to do what they plan to do. Whereas if you look at RC Singapore, they started off ReStream, but they're kind of nervous through the mid-game and lost the grasp of how to engage and how to follow up as a team.
But if you're going to look at the in-game stats, it's a little closer to call, right? There have been definite moments where RSG was in control. I'm talking early game, a little bit of that mid-game. But when it came to late game, again, you see the difference maker that these 2 marksmen have when it comes to taking objectives, especially if they're for free. S11 Gaming is in it.
They are. They're in it to win it for sure. They know that this is tournament live, so they're playing even harder than before. Just notice the positioning of specifically Kai and Jotun. Because if we're talking about Papa Dog, he's doing his own thing, but Kai and Jotun have to work in tandem with each other, especially against RSG like that. Yuzong could have been the game breaker for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes when Diablo trying to go for the backline, he have to go really far to reach the Granger and Brody. Whereas for Benedetta by Papa Dog, it seems like it's within the reach. Every time he ults, it just reach out the backline, and Baby Cake's always in trouble. And that is something that for RSG going to game 2, they have to figure out a way how to play more backwards, how to focus on one target at a time instead of chasing all different targets at the same time.
Yep, and there was a lot on the back of one of the older brothers for RSGSG. I'm talking about Lolzy. He could find some angles on that show. He took a lot of damage, peeled as a tank, as a roamer, but in the end, again, when it comes to firepower, most likely he just ended up dying after those engages. Again, I think that's what Dave was trying to get at when it comes to the RSG, front to back, back to front. Like, how do you reset from there?
I think it comes down to the heroes that you have selection through. The Cho versus the Grok. I think, if we're talking about the muscle, physically, Lolzy looks big, but Erwin is even bigger here. The supermodel himself is able to kind of get that information, open up that space before taking him out.
No, what I see mostly in the mid-game when I see from RSG is that they need to shake away the nervousness and really just go for it and wait for the team and get ready.
Yep, given the fact that they're not complete here in the stadium, it is what it is. But again, competition is going to continue. The show must go on. If there is one player we are going to highlight, it's the MVP. We're going to be awarding that very soon. I have just my eyes on the man Shan. Like, it's no doubt, right? The box that the Eve puts up, it's gotta be the Eve that helps set it up, because again, you mentioned how Diablo can actually find their targets, and you mentioned the Brody and the Granger. What about the Eve though? What about the Eve?
Yep.
Personally, I'm hoping that it's Papa Dog, but we're gonna be seeing very shortly who it's going to be. S11, come on, give me that prediction right.
Is it going to be Papa Dog or Chan?
Maybe Irvin.
Maybe Erwin?
Oh! Chan. Okay.
All right, so you didn't get your prediction right, Gideon, but talk us through exactly what Shan brought to the table.
Look, this entire composition is dedicated around this real-world manipulation and maximizing its impact. The fact is, as soon as he gets that Ice Queen's wand, it makes it so difficult to walk out of it naturally, but add the ultimates coming in. the Rock ultimate, the Granger ultimate, and not to mention, even though, hell, maybe it's just one person, Kai can just do all the work. Just lock down one person, and that's all you need.
And one thing I do want to talk about here with this E pick is not first picked actually in the draft. It was actually in the second rotation of the first round of draft, which is quite interesting because for RSG in their screaming phase, they actually had a not so great of a win rate with Eve, so they're kind of shy of picking this character out. But you cannot deny how strong this character is. The amount of utility the slow can offer to the entire game is absolutely insane. Here we're taking a look at a heat map of the MVP for game 1.
Yep, again, as a mid laner, the Eve is going to start there. But you see how important Chan is to the game plan of S11. RSG, this is, I think, the stride for them, right? I think there was a successful invade in the first rotation for the purple buff, but that didn't shake Chan, that didn't shake S11.
Absolutely, because let's remember that the jungle isn't supposed to be that hyper carry that we want to, and if we're looking at the heat map, this is the first 5 minutes, right? Look at how hyper defensively Chan is playing. He never really touches the river, and even though first turtle is up, he doesn't need to be there. His ultimate, this artillery mage, still bombarding from afar.
You see, what's interesting is you can see how defensive it plays. That also is attributed because of how aggressive RSG was early game. You know, you saw the really smart invade strategy with Lozy distracting the jungler, the support, the mage. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have the Martis invading the blue buff in the early game. Unfortunately, they were not able to open up the lead. I really like the first turtle, how RSG's really play really disciplined with Diablo, the mage, Lilia, to zone away the jungler, the Granger, but they're not able to carry through that advantage going further into the game. Coming down to game 2, it's all about confidence. That word for RSG, right? Can they really just stick to the discipline, stick to the principles, and really win the game?
And that's something interesting to say because RSG, SG, the more, I'd say, veteran team here going into this matchup. And S11, yes, they are Latam Super League champions, but it's their first time on the world stage. So there has to be some nerves, but it might be that same nerves that just is like an animal put up against a corner. It fights for its life.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, when we're talking about S11, right, and especially just how they are bred, the genes in them, some of them looking like absolute supermodels, like I got lost in Chan's eyes there for a moment, but hopefully it continues on.
Let's go ahead and throw it back to our casters, Jays, Wolf, and Mirko. Throw us back into game number 2.
Thank you very much, Dave, Leo, and Gideon. Wow, look at me in the eyes. Say that you love me. I guess that's what Chan basically mesmerizing Gideon right there. But apart from that, something else that's more mesmerizing will be our TikTok live. Carnival cheer up for M4 Watch. M4 matches on TikTok and participating in cheer up for M4 activities by watching M4 matches on TikTok. And also using the M4 exclusive gifts to cheer for your favorite teams. There will be a chance for you to be on TV and win abundant of gifts. So what you can do also is you can also take a sneak peek at M4 events and be the first to receive info about all the rewards you can get, right? M4 Pass will be available on 12/20, and of course rewards such like the Beatrix, like a lot of tweaks in terms of the draft, but also expect them to change a bit of the playstyle. But we will be going over to the draft, ladies and gentlemen. This is game number 2. This is potentially the final game for RSG, and RSG don't want it to be the final game in M4.
Absolutely. I can expect that S11 will also ban out some of the comfort picks coming up from RSG Singapore. Just like in game number 1, you have that outlier, the Lolita ban, the third ban coming out from S11. This time it will be their first. And guess what? This is one of the comforts of RSG Singapore. Played it twice out of their 3 games during the group stages and were very comfortable with it. And it seems like S11 did their homework.
Oh man, RSG SG have already opted to go for the first pick, right? So far in M4, it does feel like first pick has had just a much better win rate, better games overall, even though, again, usually, well, previous patches have actually been very advantageous for the second pick, right? Because you get the last pick in the first phase and the first pick in the second.
I think the best part about, being second pick is that you get to pick 2 prior picks, right? You trade away 1 prior pick away to the opponent, and then you take 2. Whereas right now, there's so many good first picks, like the blue, for example, which already got banned. There's also that Eve that is wide open for RSG to take over the side of 505.
Same band so far, as you can see. It's just the Joy and the Glue that's traded back and forth, but the Eve is going to be prioritized. This is what I expected in game one. I expected the first pick to just go for the Eve because of how oppressive she is in lane to poke and even initiating. You're so good now with the changes being made to the real world inflation where you can't be cancelled by any CC except for the suppression.
Well, the Kajas was the Valentina is available, which kind of means that Kaja can lock down the Eve eventually, and having the Valentina also allows for you to steal that real world manipulation. Instead, it's going to be the Benedetta as well as the Claude. The comfort picks coming out from S11, particularly this Benedetta, which Papa Dog really played well in the previous game.
Yeah, I think Gideon was talking about this, right? Papa Dogs being able to cut not only just the waves, I would say, cut apart the team fights, making it super difficult for RSG to synchronize together to fight as a team against a team fight composition, right? S11, on the other hand, I would have thought that they went for the Yuzhong because, you got an enemy Eve on the other side. I think that is a no-brainer over there, but I think that could be disadvantageous over the side of RSG as well. Diablo very comfortable on this Benedetta too. He would not be able to get his hands on it.
Man, the Claude, first pick, and the Leslie instantly. This is why I was kind of, I'm doubting the Claude pick. I don't really agree with it because, again, first pick early on, very easy to counter. You could see RSG just want to walk the Claude down. A Lapu to dive in. You already have the utility, the poke, and a Leslie that is a counter matchup in the gold lane.
Are we going to see like something like a Fredrin coming out from S11 earlier on, or maybe are they going to answer the Eve immediately? Like the Valentina is also still there, but they can pick it up if they want to. I like the Lapu-Lapu pick because it has good laning matchup versus the Benedetta if ever. You can also cut the lanes, and you can team fight much earlier compared to a Benedetta, which kind of means that you can activate this Lapu-Lapu against the Claude in the early stages of the game and snowball through it. We're looking at the Kadina. Okay. So what they wanted to do is really just to burst down the members of RG Singapore, utilizing the rough waves against the Eve. You might not cancel the real manipulation, but you can take down the Eve.
Yeah, I agree with you, right? I was thinking about, the Valentina would be good right here. You want to fight fire with fire, you want to fight water with water, right? You want to fight real world manipulation with real world manipulation. Create that Venn diagram in the middle of a team fight, and then no one stays around. But however, S11 prefers to fight with water instead. Kadita to try to find the burst, and it's very flexible. Not only just you can find the burst on top of that Eve, you can also find a burst on top of that Leslie as well if you can catch her.
It's such a smart move, honestly, now looking at it, right? I was, questioning the Claude pick early on. First pick, by the way. We haven't seen that in a long time, especially not on M4. But with the Claude pick, it did actually bait out the Leslie. That's also very vulnerable to the dive that right now S11 have drafted for, have, gone for. You can see the Kadena, the Benedetta. Leslie's not going to have a good time, right? Even with the Eve behind to help the Leslie, I think, again, we could just go back to when last time I saw this kind of composition, it was Blacklist International playing at IESF for Philippines, right? They played the Leslie and the Farsa. A bit different towards the to the Eve, but still, that's a lot of dive going up against this kind of range composition that can be very, very bad for them.
So now that we can expect more jungler bans against RSG Singapore. So far, what they have played, RSG Singapore played Martis, and that is played like at least twice already, all throughout the matches of RSG Singapore. There's also that Ling that RSG have also deployed before, which might be of consideration, especially against a Claude that can dive with the Lapu-Lapu and the Eve.
I personally feel Mirko and Wolf, RSG, like what we said, just like what we start off the day, right? This is do or die, what they've said. And not only just that, this is not only just a survival of the fittest, it is also a struggle of the fittest. The team that dropped this particular game will go home, and RSG is one game away from that. Yes, it's a very scary place, but I think RSG should be able to stabilize this. I have to believe in them. They can do this. And of course, showing support over to my homeboys. However, on the side of S11, they're banned away in Akaja.
Well, for me, I think it's the opposite right now. Unfortunately, Jays, with the bans here, they've opted to go for Grok and Atlas, and I know exactly what S11 are going for. At least I think. Kaja ban, Marta's ban. They're opting to go for an assassin in the jungle, preferably Hayabusa.
Hayabusa.
That's Jotun's signature
I agree.
pick. And right now, it fits so well. You're
Yes.
up against the Leslie. You've already banned out that Kaja. They go for the Kufra first. That's another hero that can be good up against that assassin. Thing is, for S11, they don't need to rush it. They can even go for the Haya or the Ling, right?
Yeah.
There's two options. Meanwhile, for RSG, I don't think they can go for the assassins here. That's
No.
Kufra
Definitely
pick
not.
to counter it, and there's already 3 heroes that can really just maneuver away from the assassins.
Heroes that I can think of might be like Frederick, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
that can
Yes.
control. There's a lot of taunts, a lot of knockups, a lot of crowd control, technically speaking, and you don't have a lot of dashes, and you can be in the front line so that your Leslie as well as your Eve can be peeled through by your supports. And that also means that you need a way to scout. Diggy.
I don't think
They
so.
pick up the
Okay.
Ling.
Oh,
Feels like RSG is
okay.
feeling assassin today. Feeling like a Ling. He will be going for that Ling. At the same
Oh,
time,
like the
Losi will return to his Ruby roam. I don't know what to feel about a Ruby roam. Personally, I feel like a Franco's a lot better, but feels like they need that AOE. Want to hook as many people right into the real world manipulation.
Well, I can see why the Ruby can work here, right? But honestly, look at their composition. There's a huge hole or weakness point in the back line with the Leslie.
Yeah.
I thought the Diggy was going to come through just to go and defend into that. What? Wait, it's not a Hayabusa, it's a Paquito here up against RSG. It feels like with the Paquito pick, they feel they already have enough backline threats towards RSG, so they pick up a Paquito. They can do a bit of both. But in the jungle, we haven't seen. Is this the first time a Paquito has been picked?
Yeah, I think so. I think this
No,
is the second time.
This is the second time. The first time was picked by Blacklist.
Exactly.
Yesterday,
In the
I think.
jungle? No.
No, it's not in the jungle.
jungle.
In the XP lane.
Exactly.
But this time around, it will be going into the jungle. Paquito
Wow.
getting nerfed out of existence because of meta, but
Are we even sure that this will be a jungle Paquito?
It looks like it. There you go.
Well, it is. Right now, as we can see, it's
Jotun.
yeah, it's Jordan's actually playing it. So that will be a jungle Paquito. Okay, so what they wanted to do is to really get into the back. Let's have a one-hit combo, if that thing exists.
Is
It's
it
the-
high and dry Paquito?
It should be.
definitely.
You wanna eliminate the Leslie as soon as possible. You have your ways to close the gap, and you have a one-shot combo with your ultimate to take out the Leslie. And that also means that you can also dive with Papa Dog. So there's a lot of dive coming out from the side of Eseonce. They don't have much peel for their Claude, but even the Claude, if you think about it, even the Claude is also a dive kind of hero. So it's all about dive for Eseonce.
yep, it's all about that. But ladies and gentlemen,
No
oh
way.
my God, Erwin! This
no.
is not a good start for RSG.
No.
It's a horrible start for RSG. Bray did not use the retribution and he has the killing spree. So this is going to be S11 who's going to be able to actually control the jungle for a bit early on. Erwin with the purple buff. They're going to be able to dictate the early game.
For sure. And definitely the turtle is going to be in favor of Eseonce unless they like die multiple times. But knowing that there will be a level disadvantage for the Ling means that you forfeit the first 2 minutes of the game.
If you are the side of RSG, this is really hard to watch. And not only just that, Jotun is on that hot and dry. You notice Paquito finds your back line. He's gonna hurt like a truck. And right now, it's all about the side lanes. RSG needs to play around the side lanes as quickly as possible. Get that Leslie up into the late game. Get that Lapu Lapu up in the late game so that he can tank and peel for the team.
Oh man, again, you could already see the mid control here. The wave clear from S11 is going to be
Bray.
very good, and you can see already
Bray.
that's going to be
No,
Bray.
Erwin's there.
Erwin finds it. He catches him while he was jumping on the wall. Erwin has a personal issue with Bray, and that's first blood over to S11.
The pathing coming out from Erwin. He went from the pixel brush to the rock Ursa bush, and then going for the Kramer's bush to really cut down where Bray was going for. They heard that Bray is going for the crab, and they have punished duly. My goodness, Erwin.
RSG, no,
Jotun.
that turtle going down.
Going to be able to find it right now. Johnson going to be able to get out as well. Erwin and Papa Dog onto 505. One more hit. Papa Dog's looking for it. Under the turret secures it. 2 for 0. Jays, how you feeling?
Man, S11 is stalling on top of RSG, Merkel. Seriously, this has gone from worse to horrible for the side of RSG. I'm not going to sugarcoat it right now. Let's take a look at the items, Wolf.
Oh, not only the items, like you're looking at the economy. If you're looking at comparing the junglers, 1.5k to 1.3k in the early stages, it's such a big dent in the economy of RCSG.
Speaking of dictating the early game, right here, Chan was holding on to the rough waves there a bit too long. Baits out the flicker out from Lolzy, and maybe that's what they were going for. Not the kill, but to bait out a resource to push RSG to a false sense of safety. But here, Erwin, doesn't find it.
Look at how S11's dictating every part of that map. A wonderful start for S11, and of course, not only just that, right? Ling is practically like, it felt like, you know, he's playing with a handicap. S11 has like a 5-minute head start, and RSG is in that big disadvantage.
1.2k at 3 minutes is really bad. Lolzy getting be caught.
He is still going to be able to get out, though. Maneuvers out of the breath of the ocean as well. S11 with a 1.3k gold lead right now. Not really going to be able to get some more kills, but they will still be able to control the enemy side of the jungle. 5 seconds for the purple buff, and that's exactly what S11 wants to look for. Jotun in position. Bray already on the purple buff. RSG with 505 rotating are looking to help Bray. But now it's going to be Kai jumping in. Erwin's going to be able to find a Tyrant's Rage and the flicker combo. In the back lines, though, it's going to be RSG who are able to turn it around. It's a 2-for-0. Papadog has the world. Jumping in. Liberty Diablo, but will fall as well. In the end, it's a 3-for-2. Making it a 3-for-3. Chan not able to find Baby Cakes just yet, though. No damage.
Not enough damage right there. Baby Cakes will be able to limp away alive. But RSG may have taken a bit of damage, at least this time around. Ray does have that purple buff and will be going over to that turtle. So that is one way of RSG to climb this back. However, S11 though, they've got Super Omega Burst already in the mid parts of the game.
Good idea coming out from S11 to invade the purple buff, but bad execution because RSG were prepared for it and they went in too deep. S11 just really dove against RSG, duly punished by 505 with the ultimate. They were really under the strongest point for RSG Singapore. Even after the big disadvantage when it comes to economy, you don't dive like that. And already, S11 this is a massive blunder.
RSG going back into gear number 1. They need to slow it down, but they need to go hard. But Chan finding 505.
Not going to be able to find the kill just yet here. You can see for the M4 stats, win rate of first pick, 59.26%. That's pretty massive, right? And here, everyone's going to be able to actually find the Tyrant's Revenge and the Rage onto Lolzy. He was able to flicker out, but Jotun's right there with a knockout strike. Baby Cakes perfectly timed to get Jotun off of him. But S11 have the pressure now in the gold lane. Baby Cakes going to be sandwiched. Jotun already jumping in there. Just zoning the other members away. 505 forced to flicker. That's the high and dry doing work. Jotun not able to find the purple buff steal. And that's S11 who are able to actually get Kai into a winning lane in the gold lane up against this matchup.
Exactly. The effect of that aggression coming out from S11 is that Kai is able to push a turret, make himself farmed more than the Nestle right now, about 300 gold ahead, and he's gonna get his golden staff, which means that his farming rate is gonna be exponentially better.
Papadog, gotta be careful here, has everything to get out, and RSG wasted a few resources to just get there now.
Yeah, he's too slippery for RSG to catch right now. And don't forget, Diablo is also one of Benedetta mate. He knows how to give it up. But RSG right here, we notice how Baby Cake's going in, Berserker's Fury going towards the Endless Battle as well. It's a very high damage build coming up from this Desi as well. But Erwin charging out 505 may be in danger.
Oh man, 1.5k gold lead, not the end of the world, right? Definitely not. But Chan already is going into the enemy jungle. Bray's looking for it. S11 are playing it really well now, taking it slow. Chan's gonna be revealed. Erwin jumps in. Lolzy on the top side, and Baby Cakes looking for a trade, but it's Kai who wins out, and it's a disaster for RSG. S11 find 2, make it another with the turtle secure 2, and RSG failed to find a trade. Erwin finds the Tyrant's Revenge, not able to find the Tyrant's Rage. Oh my goodness.
It's 3 at the turtle pit, 2 at the top side. 2 cannot catch the Claw, and at the same time, RSG still attempts on that turtle. I think S11 managed to sandwich RSG right into submission right there at the turtle, and also losing the bottom side turret as well. But let's take a look at the emblems, Wolf.
Wow. definitely the high and dry is going to be the big problem for RSG Singapore. You can see that he can burst down the Leslie as well as the Eve, or if not able to take out those squishy heroes, force out some of the battle spells. Oh no, Diablo going to be found. Not die for now. And another problem for RSG is the dive, right? Coming out from Argentina. You saw that in the last turtle fight. It's not even a fight because of the pokes that Papadog was able to do, and as well as Chan just positioning himself so that he can burst out any of the members of RSG. Eventually, RSG Singapore will have to answer, and that means that their formation that they wanted to have will be destroyed!
Erwin with a play, and Kai with a follow-up. Under the turret is Papadog with a final blow. Bray's gonna fall. Lolzy is one. It's a 3-for-1, and S11 only lose Erwin.
It's an Omega Dive coming off MS11, bloodthirsty. And then after that, translating into objectives. And RSG right now is just leading not only just members, but also map control.
What a play!
What a play. RSG Singapore, they will feel very secure under their turret. But my oh my, Erwin is making a case for himself as one of the best setup tanks that we have in M4.
Wolf and Merkel, nowhere is safe for RSG, but here we go.
Oh my god. Papadog even against two. Forcing Bray away.
Oh
Chan finds the damage onto Lolzy. That's the frontliner taken down very low. He has to recall, and you could see the map control is gone. Absolutely gone for RSG.
S11 has full map control. This is their map. This is hit their side of Land of Dawn, and that translates over to Lords. Multiple objectives as well. Bray and Papadog going at it again. RSG cannot even catch him at all.
Erwin's feeling it.
Erwin's feeling it as well as Chan. Look at him. 2-0 with this Kadita. Positioned already very aggressively because he knows that there could be a follow-up. Anytime he makes the jump, we'll miss it for now.
Kai gonna be able to get that blazing duet down on Karakai. Diablo so low. Forced to use the bravest fighter defensively to get out. S11 are right now styling on RSG.
Yep.
This is bad. 505 already committed the room of manipulation. This will be a third push coming out from Argentina. Because of that Kai aggression, a big ultimate was down for RSG. Look at Erwin!
Erwin finds the revenge and the rage onto Lolzy. He's going to be taken very low, flickering out. Erwin now caught in the enemy base. Bray's going to be able to jump in, but that's going to be Erwin who flickers out. Once again, is Chan jumping in, zone the other black line away. Papadog with the final blow, getting back to safety. S11 unable to crack the base just yet.
They're trying to defend. RSG literally throwing every single utility, every single thing, every single ultimate they have in their pockets just to delay that push, but that is not the real push, because the real push is this Lord that's marching top side menacingly against RSG.
Let's see. The Lord is already munching on the top lane base turret. S11 not really gonna go for anything too crazy here, knowing they still have an 8,000 gold lead. They decide to back off, play it defensively and disciplinedly.
Now they wait.
Oh my, never mind.
No, they won't. No, they won't. Erwin finds another jump. And Bray is also asking that question. How is it that Erwin is always able to find these openings and Bray bites the dust 4 deaths for the Ling?
It's really tough for RSG. Bray has no access to the purple buff at all, and Bray has no access to the jungle at all. The gold lead is going to gap even further as well. Lolzy unable to land down on that. I'm offended, and Kai going to back line.
Kai melting down the back line. Chan finding the rough waves. Chan is going to be able to jump in on the baby kicks, finding another.
No way!
RSG have lost their back line, their high ground defense. Jotun with a knockout strike, still able to actually get out before Bray jumps in, but the shielding comes in. Bray's going to be taken low, and that's going to be the Tyrant's revenge to lock him down. The I'm offended's appeal is not going to be enough as S11 march forward once again. It's a 3-for-2. They've cracked the top and bot base turrets open, and they're looking for the mid lane. Diablo jumping in with Bravest Fighter, but he does not have enough tankiness. Lolzy melted down, flickering out. Diablo getting out as well. S11 back off, but RSG have lost 2 base turrets.
That's really tough to watch. RSG right there, literally throwing every single thing, even a flicker, just to get out dodged. It is was Diablo buying for time for BBK to come back online just in time to try to push this off. But then again, a nightmare is going to get even worse because the Lord has spawned and RSG cannot afford to challenge this Lord.
You can see that Chan is really styling on RSG Singapore, going in with Kai. And even his ultimate, the Rafays, was able to catch one more additional member of RSG. That's why they eventually got the double kill. And now the good skill play, Erwin and Chan.
Papa Dog as well, buying so much time for a scene.
no, they got
Chan finds Baby Cakes. That's the goal later down. Diablo finding stun, looking for more down. With the flicker again, and kind of follow it up. Diablo's gonna fall. Lolzy's gonna fall. It's 4-4-1 for S11. Prey finally finding one, but S11 have wiped out the Singaporean champions. Just waiting for the Enhanced Lord to march down. 14 seconds on 505. 5 seconds on Baby Cakes. The mid-wave spawning once again. S11 just need to get rid of the mid-waves right now. And it is all over. RSG have been knocked out of M4 by S11 Gaming.
S11 Gaming, the Argentina fans, surprise every single one in M4, and they show that they are not a team to be looked down upon.
Sasageo, bro.
Sasageo. Erwin for the win, man. What was that? You saw it from the start. He stole a purple buff. In the mid lane, he landed a wonderful Tyrant's Revenge. And in the last moment, with Chan, they are able to find Baby Cakes. And then the Flicker ultimate just to lock down Bray in the end. They are styling on RCSG. Really deserving of this victory.
Merkel, Wolf, that was the longest Lord March that ever happened in MLBB history. It's like, you know for certain that is it. And RSG was unable to defend their slot. And there you go on stage, a valiant fight. Don't forget, it is also Baby Cakes and Coach Dolly.
If it makes it spicier for the world stage, I mean, I'll take it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's add the sambal in. We will be going into the draft in less than 3 seconds because it is going to be Incendio Supremacy going up against MDH. Who will be able to pick up the most priority pick? That's what we are looking out for. And it is going to be Incendio in the first pick.
All right, first pick Incendio, and you can already see the bands coming in. Fanny, Carey. Meanwhile, for MDH, taking away the Joy and the 1-1. 2 picks that have been phenomenal. And again, I think throughout the knockout stages, we have not seen just yet. Wolf, should we expect something different from the draft coming in from the first match of the day, where S11 and RSG let a lot of these heroes open? Remember, Fanny wasn't banned nor picked at all in match 1.
Yeah, to answer your question, yes, I think we're going to see it differently aside from the fact that Eve is going to be the priority for both teams. Because if you look back during the group stages, both these teams, even when they're playing in different groups, they have prioritized that hero. So apart from that, I think we can see somewhere along the lines of maybe a Lolita perhaps, because it was banned out in the earlier stages. Even a Hayabusa at this point is not a long shot for both teams.
It is as well. It's going to be MDH banning away the counter. I feel like this, between these two teams, is going to be the battle between the majors, right? It's going to be the battle of Rosa going up against My Help, right? And I feel like this first pick is definitely going to go for that Eve. But rest assured from the side of Incendio, even if the Eve is not picked, there is always that Farsa that, you know, Rosa could actually fall back to.
Incendio have a lot of options to play with, right? I mean, when you talk about Incendio in the group stages, sure, we could just talk about the gameplay, but personally for me, I felt like their drafts were really impressive, and they have a chance to once again display it here by going for a flex pick.
Yep.
Eve is the prio pick. That's what we expect them to go for, but they can also just go for something like a Grok, or perhaps just a Valentina, a flex that can dictate the drafts. With the Valentina first pick, though, it's a hero that we have not seen a lot of here in the knockout stage.
It's weird, right? But at least in the lower bracket, we haven't seen that before. Now it's one of those priority picks that you can never really go wrong, because no matter what your opponent picks up, you have a chance to copy it. Fredrin is also a priority for MDH. They will not be taking it. And then there is that choice of getting the Claude now so that you will not have any problems in your marksman department later on. But I think the Eve still is a good pick for MDH.
I mean, MDH could definitely go for the Eve, but then again, you'll definitely be giving that real-world manipulation over to the side of Rosa with the Valentina. But the only problem about the Valentina is that very short range, right? You gotta really go up to the face, to first skill, second skill, and then get out. By then, you may take a lot of damage. And Wolf, as you predicted, there's a claw being picked up by MDH, and there you go. Leslie going in to the side of Incendio.
Last time this happened, it was literally last game.
Hey.
RSG, they picked up the Leslie to counter the Claude.
Yeah.
But what did that activate? The backline threat
Correct.
from the enemy team. And right now, MDH have a chance to, again, just pressure the Leslie.
Yeah.
In lane, I would say, yeah, Leslie is such a good pickup against the Claude. But in these team fights, it's so difficult to pull her off.
It kind of makes me think that maybe Lolita or the Grok will be the next choice here for Incendio, or maybe something like a Cho. But yeah, both Lolita and Grok can protect this Leslie if ever. So that
There you
will be
go.
the Grok. And I guess what's different here is that the Leslie is an anti-tank in a way. So Fredrin might not have the best time for this one.
Your prediction has been going pretty well right there. Grok being picked up by the side of Incendio, and then it's going to be a Hayabusa on the side of Joga.
Yeah, we mentioned this too.
MDH. You are about to mention that. What is? You're on fire right here, Wolf.
Maybe because at least this is what we saw in the group stage. And Incendio, with all due fairness, we saw a lot of games from them. They played 5 games. So there's a big sample size on the patterns that they're doing. So this looks to be one of the more standard ways that Incendio is actually drafting towards.
Kufra Band 2. Incendio might be setting up for an assassin pick for themselves. Meanwhile, here we do have a fun fact for everybody back at home. TNTK, the coach of MDH Esports, was a player of CyberX together with Nard and in MSC 2021.
Yeah, I remember
You like
that.
the way I said his name?
Yeah,
don't
of
you?
course. I've been listening to you during the group stages, but of course, looking at the bands coming from
Yeah, I got it.
MDH, right? And then looking at the bands coming from Incendio, I could smell a link coming up. But then again, Hilda is wonderful to counter against that link.
Yeah.
But as well, from the side of MDH, they need to ban away the Hilda because you also want to protect your Hayabusa during the earlier part of the game. But because, MDH doesn't pick up that Eve early on in the draft, you're going to expect Incendio's never going to let that go.
I wonder if MDH is considering either a Farsa or maybe even a Xavier. The thing with, or Lilia, I mean. Lilia is a hero that you don't give really a good ultimate to the Valentina as much as you would like an Eve or a Farsa. And that's also true with the Xavier. So instead, it's going to be Lolita. As we expected earlier on, it's going to be great versus the Leslie. You understand why they took that up. Oh, they pick it up quick. Wow,
And the
there it is.
Estes-2 in for Incendio Supremacy. They pick up that Martis. That's going to be so good up against this composition that wants to technically CC you down. Need my help on that Xavier. All right, we've got our draft set. Need my help's going to be very careful here because last time we saw Incendio play the Grok, Alien went for Weapon Mastery and all he did was flicker to the mid laner and the gold laner.
Yeah, I feel like the last part of the draft was very rapid fire. Feels like Incendio MDH, before entering the banning phase, they know what they're going to go for.
Yeah.
So expect them to be comfortable in talking about execution. But in terms of the team composition, Wolf, what are each team good at?
Late game is definitely what MGH wants to go for. They want to make sure that the Xavier as well as the Claude is going to output the damage. But when it comes to the actual composition, if it's a head-to-head, I think that the team fight will definitely be favoring Incendio Supremacy. This is the Turkish ube that we saw during the group stages. We call it Turkish Delight in the Tagalog stream when I was casting there. But I don't think that it's a thing internationally, but at least in the Philippines, it's a thing. Turkish Delight, right?
You know what? Let's bring it to the English desk. Going for the Ube strat as well. It is going to be Incendio going up against MDH in game number 1. First, this is the best of 3, mind you. So first team that wins will definitely gain that momentum.
And so far, we've seen that the first game really matters a lot, especially considering both these teams run on momentum too. In the XP lane, Alien already with the help of Apex 47 dealing a whole lot of damage. Flicker very early on, not even a minute has gone by, and that's a massive battle spell already.
Yeah, another thing to highlight as well, Wolf, you were mentioning Alien is holding on to that weapon mastery as well. So expect Alien to just go full damage Grok, and MDH will need to brace themselves. That wild charge may not be just only an engage tool, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, this is a weapon master Grok. By the way, this is the 3rd time that Incendio did this, and it seems like what the King actually did is a response to what Incendio has been doing for the past 3 games when they're doing the XP lane Grok. Because what he did was to sacrifice his battle spell so that at least he'll get 2 minions, because The Grok blocking the lane in the XP lane is actually difficult to deal with if you don't sacrifice anything. So this is like actually MDH correcting the laning stage against Incendio Supremacy.
Yep, right now, TNZ on the other side of the map, the turtle will be spawning at the bottom side instead. It is also a 2-1-1 composition coming up from both these two teams, prioritizing on protecting their marksmen to get them up to standard, up to the items. But here we go, Nart finding Apex in the jungle.
47, Apex 47 is down. First blood over to Joga from MDH. Vietnam coming back strong here in the knockout stage. Already starting with a pretty good lead. Turtle control is not going to be for Incendio for now, but you can already see the movement from Rosa trying to get that mid control back in.
Yeah, at least Apex 47 was able to go back into helping and supporting the team fight later on at the turtle stage. But then again, MDH being the late stage part of the team, Incendio on the other hand, I think they cannot give too much resources, but Joga already chunking down that turtle.
Turtle number 1 already very low. You can see now, Numina Blast pops in. Tianzi is able to steal it away. That's gonna be the King knocked up, taunting up 3 members. The Dawning Light not dealing enough damage. Just yet the King! Oh my goodness! A massive Appraiser's Wrath to turn the tides. But Rosa is still healthy. Takes a kill back in for Incendio. That was so much damage.
The King came. He literally landed down that big sword, but Rosa,
Rosa.
1 HP.
Rosa!
Rosa! My goodness, Incendio as well as MDH, they're really bringing out the big guns. Wonderful flank coming up from Rosa, who stole the ultimate coming up from Nart. He copied the Lolita Luminum Glass and had a great angle from the backlines. That's why TNC was able to snatch that turtle, because it was at the right moment when the retribution was already on the threshold that they can take the turtle. That gave the advantage to Incendio Supremacy. And unfortunately for MDH, Need My Help didn't have the Savior ultimate in that case. He had to wait for a few more seconds. That's why they didn't have as much damage as INC.
Oh, Joga is looking at TNZ right here. Shuriken would not be able to land for now, but then because MDH pushes TNZ away, Incendio is putting so much pressure on the top side, which is where Sunshine is. They want, both these two teams, they really want to get the marksmen up online as quickly as possible, but then again, Joga going in.
That's a shadow kill popped in onto Rosa, who's still able to get out. Again, both teams pushing the pace, but it's only 3 kills on the board.
It's not too far away, Mirko. Like right now, but hold on.
Mobilization coming in, Numenon Blast charged in. Rosa gonna be stunned up with Apex. Nart finds a massive stun, and it's followed through very well by MDH. 3-1, and hey, last time most of the talents predicted RSG, they lost. Now,
Mirko,
most of the
don't bring
talents
it up.
are predicting Incendio.
Why are you bringing this up? In the meantime, it is going to be Incendio. They need to put some pressure on Joga, but here we go.
Alien versus the world, knocked up, stunned up,
So
but has the wild charge to get out.
When you see a Grok doing that as a defensive, it doesn't look good, right?
Yeah, 3 members of MDH have physical damage, and with the Weapon Master Grok in the XP lane, he's very tanky against those heroes.
The King again in the front lines, getting the HP back in, and that's
way.
Alien!
He's so tanky.
Finds the turtle! Joga jumps in with the quad shadow and the shadow kill, but it's Tianzi who finds the kill back. Rosa stole it away. Nart now gonna be the target down, as that's gonna be the sustainability from Incendio. Tianzi finding a double kill with the decimation.
The double kill decimation on top of TNZ is going to allow him to snowball out of control, and that's exactly not what MDH want to do. They have a very strong control in the early part of the game, but they let it go.
Knowing the Grok is just with 2 Legion Swords and a Fury Hammer with the Weapon Master, he's very tanky against physical attack, and he even dodged the Savior attacks. The moment that you saw the Power of Nature, you have to avoid that because that's gonna hurt. Even just the first skill of the Grok at this point is going to tear down the defenses of MDH, who apparently only has 1 physical defensive item, which is on the Lolita, and that's not gonna be enough.
Yep, the Leslie has already had the Berserker Fury. That is a big item housed by Incendio, who's already starting to get the necessary items to basically scale out of control. MDH need to find some way to stem that bleed, but TNZ is already hard invading.
All right, I have a question. How much damage does Alien do with the first ability? Because Joga did not even get a chance to retreat. That was just all Alien.
Exactly. I think it's, if I would guess, it's
Out the world.
1.6k. Yeah. At that point, early on, that's actually a lot.
That's a retribution.
That's a retribution, basically.
It's like it reminds me of the Bauman, right? You use your ultimate and the Reggie that's like double Reggie, but now Incendio, you know, Alien on the but hold on a second, they really want to try to force this.
Phenomenal blast charged in. That's a sandwich play by Tianzi under the turret, finding one. Joga looking for the quad shadow. Sunshine flickering out has that sustainability to help him out. TNT is gonna be able to find an activation. Teleports back. It's a disaster for MDH. It's a double kill for TNZ, and they're looking to capitalize on to the first turret up in the gold lane.
TNZ is building a snowball out of the dead bodies of MDH. Incendio, on the other hand, is just so strong against MDH. I thought there was a chance for MDH, but then Incendio snuff it out.
And they get the turtle, they get the turret up top too. In fact, inching the lead out to what? Maybe 6,000 gold up at this moment. You're gonna have to hand it to INC. This Turkish delight strategy with their Estes is just so good.
It's not a delight.
No,
Look
no,
at
no,
that!
no,
Alien jumps in with a wild charge. Oh my goodness, the healing comes in clutch too. The King unable to find the Appraiser's wrath. And again, I do believe it's not a Turkish delight because MDH are not enjoying it.
Oh, they're not enjoying it, definitely. The moment that you see someone not dying for INC, the sustain is gonna be there. So MDH, the only way for them to engage is to get a pick off. All in on one hero, eliminate that. The moment that you don't get a lethal initiation against Incendio, you're in big trouble because now you have overextended, they can easily punish, and there's no team fight for you afterwards.
The worst part is just take a look at MDH, the state of their map. It's looking very dire. On the other hand, Incendio, you know, they've got all the defensive structures up. They have all the time in the world. MDH is not allowed to scale all the way to the later parts of the game. But even with the Claw, take a look at the items. Golden Staff as well as the Demon Hunter Sword already built. Plot is already online, but it's just MDH unable to find the initiation.
I have to ask you this question again, Wolf, right? We mentioned this during the draft. MDH likes to go for the late game draft. Alien not taking any damage, just walks back. Absolute Chad gets the wild charge too. And the King is going to be the one who has to back off. My goodness, but back again. Early game comp from Incendio. MDH with late game comp. Can they withstand the storm?
Oh, if they do mass damage onto Need My Help and they keep them alive, maybe there will be a chance. And Joga, unfortunately, he picked up the Hayabusa against a team that likes to play the Estes. And Incendio Supremacy will now be separating themselves from each other. The only outlier might be the Grok Alien, which is a physical defensive beast. So to answer your question, it will take a lot of mistakes from Incendio Supremacy for MDH to win it in the late game.
But if you're on this stage right now, you do not want to bank on your enemy's mistakes. You want to be the one that's creating opportunities, right, guys? But from the side of the Claw, I'm looking at him. He needs to try to find the backline. But then again, it's just Apex 47 just shut down every single plan that MDH have.
Incendio technically don't have a back line. Sunshine, you could mention Sunshine, but hey, he's always in the middle, not the back. The person at the back is actually Apex 47, who now already has the immortality. It is a free Lord. 9 minutes in towards Incendio. 7.7 thousand gold lead, and MDH again, like you mentioned, Wolf, they need to bank on a mistake at this point.
See, if you see a Grok like with a first skill, dealing what 2.6k damage on.
I'm out of here. I'm not playing.
Gonna get out of there. And I think he's building up. He already has Pepsi, so with wild charge from the bush, he is gonna pack up a punch.
A punch? You mean getting knocked up in the air?
Is that what you call a punch in the Philippines? That is not a punch.
That's not a punch. Because Incendio right now, they're marching down with that Lord on the top side. MDH, you saw, even with Xavier, the items, it's not enough damage to do anything at all. The ultimate just barely tickles the Lord, not even trying to steal that Lord away.
Oh man, it just, again, so hard for MDH right now. They want to scale up, but they're not given any room to play with. Tianzi walks up, can take all the damage, can get stunned up, but it doesn't matter, he's on a Martis.
It's just so hard to watch, ladies and gents, especially from the side of MDH right here. Incendio already setting up the siege for now. It's going to be the top side. The Lord's already marching in. Sunshine can attack from a long point. Yes, there's a scout, but it's only stating the obvious. MDH and Incendio is obviously leaning towards the top side.
What a godly lane freeze here. They utilize the
Oh
drop
my god.
so that they'll be able to easily take some of the outer lanes, and now they have the Lord on their side up top.
Well, one thing that MDH has going for them is that high ground. Alien! With the flicker onto Nart, that's the cancel, and that will give them the free base turret. The King gonna be caught in the middle of that fight. It's still a good defense by MDH. It looks super good for Incendio, but MDH, wow, again, that high ground power is working out for them.
Man, MDH, that could have gone so worse. Look at the Dawning Light, just barely tickles Incendio right now. They're so far ahead. Sunshine's already taken up top. It's going to be a fight.
That's the sustainability right now as Tianzi jumps in, disrupting everything. Gonna be taken down. Tianzi was waiting there for the BMI. Now it's gonna be need my help. Who's gonna have to back off? Apex 47 smacks. Nart falls. The King now gonna be able to actually get back to the base. No minion waves, but it just might look like Incendio will end the game. 12 minutes in, the wall placed in to stop the minion waves from crashing. The King still in front, trying to buy some time before that's gonna be the Mystic Field popped in by Sunshine. A decimation does not care about the sustainability of the Fredrin. Incendio secure game number 1. Match point.
Incendio supremacy showing us the Turkish delight. And MDH is finding it way too spicy. This game, a little bit shaky for Incendio in the early game, but MDH just lost it around the mid game.
They had so much sambal today, I can see. They have incinerated the stage, essentially. It looks very, very, how to say this? There's a lot of flair, like you saw in that last sequence of events. A wild charge to cancel the Numinum Blast. A stolen Numinum Blast to get the last hit onto a Lolita who has a bulwark.
They were all just fighting for the TikTok moments, dude.
I agree.
It's just so hard to watch, especially that that sequence of abilities, right? It's just like, just. You think you have the Luminum Blast? No, it's mine now, and I'm gonna cancel yours. And that is the power of the Valentina first pick. That's also the power of Big Rock going with the Weapon Mastery.
Coming out from Incendio Supremacy is more than just the hero versus hero matchup. Even the map control that you saw coming out from Alien is very well fought. Level 1, they freeze the lane, utilizing the Grok Guardian's barrier so that they will have a better lane matchup versus the Fredrin X lane. Late game, they control the Lord so that every lane will come together and they will have an easier push. This is a well thought of draft coming out from Incendio Supremacy. I will not be surprised if the Grok will be banned.
Needs to be banned, but we also got to give a special shout out to Secret Lab, the official gaming chair partner of M4. This chair is looking really nice, by the way. I'm taking home. We're talking about a built-in lumbar support system that you can adjust to your spine, an incredible magnetic memory foam head pillow, and a brand new fabric in all sorts of colors and designs. The Secret Lab Titan Evo 2022 gaming chair is designed to keep everyone seated in incredible comfort for a long time. Of course, apart from that, we also have the M4 Pass.
Absolutely, man. The M4 Pass is available right now. So hop on your Secret Lab and complete all active tasks, and you guys will be able to reach level 75 at ease. Currently, I'm level 51, despite being casting all day. Oh, you're level 51 too. Hey, shout out. By the way, LaFell level 15, caught lacking. Anyways, free. Log in now. Exclusive rewards like the Beatrix Light Chaser skin, the Beatrix Stellar Brilliant skin, and the M4 Beatrix figurine. You can see right here on the desk are awaiting you back at home. Hashtag Mobile Legends Bang Bang, hashtag MLBBM4, and hashtag Dare to be Great.
And of course, M4 Battle Night goes live this January 21st as well, so expect loads of events and rewards up for grabs in the game. First off, complete battle task in the game on January 21st to get a skin code of skin choice chest, not a skin code, but then that Stellaris Gold skin is something that I really want to work towards too, and you can choose the skin you like most from.
That first phase, that Leslie, I was of two hearts. I was like, that seems to be too soon, but they completely won out as soon as they got that Martis and Leslie.
Absolutely. I think, designing the draft like that and especially faking out the Fredrin, making all the difference with the anti-crowd control. And I mean,
But Faramis and Wolf are being picked up. It also,
You're
so
gone.
for the side of
Okay.
Incendio, the
All right.
Arsa is going to get picked up. Wolf, Man, your predictions.
Your knowledge is rubbed off on
All
me.
right.
I got the Farsa, you
Yeah.
got the Faramis. All right, we're cool. Jace,
Cool.
now it's up to you.
I got the Kajo, I think.
Oh, okay, there you
okay,
go.
we're all
right.
cool.
We're all good. We're all cool.
We got the quota done for the day. Lapu gonna be banned though. Does seem like again Incendio want to respect that backline threat. They have a Farsa. Very easy to cancel the Feather Airstrike. Not like the Eve.
Yeah, Benedetta and Yuzong will be the choices now for Incendio Supremacy. I think I'm favoring the Benedetta ban as it is a hero that can actually win a lane against the glue in a way because you can just go to the backlines and be okay. Maybe this is something that MDH Esports will be considering later on. For now, XP should be the priority for bans when it comes to Incendio Supremacy's draft. While for MDH Esports, they're going to be looking for the carry counters that we have. I would not be surprised if it will be the Claude as their last man.
I think apart from the
Hayabusa,
I think
okay.
apart from the Claw that's going to get banned away, the Hayabusa ban going in from the side of Incendio, I think what Incendio is trying to do is making sure that MDH is not as comfortable as possible. The Martyrs will be removed by TNC.
Okay.
They have no answer to that, so might as well just take it away
Correct.
from Incendio, right? But however, there's another interesting point is that technically speaking, the Faramis is also quite a good counter against that glue.
Well, you can say that. I think that you can also consider a Fredrin now. Even when you already have the
Incendio?
glue. For Incendio, absolutely, because you have your frontliner. Although it might have a little bit of a problem against the carry, but you kind of have to have someone to get into the front lines. Because even when you have the glue as well as the Kaja, you have to have someone in front. Unless they want to go full-on assassin now for Incendio, but knowing the way that they draft, they don't favor that. Maybe something like an Amon will be the
Oh man.
last of their choices.
That's what they picked last time, and okay,
Brody.
I was about to really
Yeah.
hype it up when
Hype
you
it up,
got
but-
that. But Brody comes out.
Brody.
A good choice, with
Yeah.
all the marksmans already banned out
Correct,
here. Bea, we saw the 1-1 earlier. Up against the carry, you can go for the Claude, but the Claude
Correct.
is not a good matchup up against the carry.
Yeah, I think the problem is that you go in blatant duel and then all of a sudden it is going to be the Faramis activating the ultimate and then all of a sudden, your damage is basically going into the drain. And there you go. I wanted that aim on the side of
I
PNZ,
don't
but
know.
it's going to be MDH taking it away as well. Not only just that, there's also another potential dive coming up from the Benedetta from the side of MDH.
It's just how it is, Mirko. And the Benedetta as well. We talked about this. It's gonna be good versus the glue, at least in the laning stage.
Oh.
That is why they might have picked up the Brody. No, come
yo,
on, assassins.
yo,
no,
yo,
wait, please don't.
No
Yo.
way. Yo,
No way.
You all saw.
We saw that.
You
We
all
saw
saw.
that. You all saw that.
Oh my
If
God.
that
Oh
will
my
be
God.
the
Oh my
case-
God.
Don't, zoom in,
Okay.
zoom in.
Okay.
If that will be the case, this is definitely a throwback to what the Ube started with. The
Go for the Ube.
Blackest Ube loves that.
He's going to tap it.
3 seconds.
Ay, ay.
What is it gonna be?
What's it
the
gonna be?
suspense. It's a Leo Mord for Incendio. I thought it was gonna be another Yisun Shin, but nope, it's Leo Mord. Haven't seen this in quite a while, especially after the patch. Up against this composition, up against Amon. Thoughts?
Okay, so a little bit of tankiness in there, just a little bit. But what I like about it is that if you put the opponent very low, and then you pop the Faramis ultimate, right? Eventually, your Oathkeeper passive is going to have a great time because everybody's going to be low after the fact. So you have your burst damage coming out from the far side. You have your sweeper from the Leomord. Eventually, the Brody will be a problem because unlike any other marksman, the Brody is not that concerned about the Benedetta getting in front of you because it's quite tanky. You can go for the stun as well. If you don't get outplayed by the eye for an eye, you're gonna deal a lot of damage and stay in team fights.
Yep.
So it kind of makes sense to me. However, this is a much better, well-rounded draft coming up from NDH compared to game number 1. I wonder if their team fight is as good as what the draft promises.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are at match point. Incendio looking to send MDH back home to Vietnam. But will MDH bite back? We have to take a look at game number 2.
They have to bite back, right? It's now or never. If you're MDH, there are no more chances. This is it. It's knockout time.
We're gonna be trying to force the retribution, but already with the leash coming up from the carry, it will be no problem at all for the Amon. And so far, Incendio Supremacy have been clearing the way much faster than MDH. I wonder whether the first rotation it will be. Seems like they are considering the purple buff, but knowing that the Faramis is gonna be a problem, they will just back down.
I feel like Farsa is a really strong early game, right? Your first skill or second skill basically do a lot of damage. You can easily shove the wave and then start to rotate. And to help her rotate even faster, there's always that wing by wings. And I really like how, Wolf, you're talking about they need a cleanup crew.
Yeah.
We're all thinking, you know, Assassin to go back to the backline, clean up, and then move away. Technically speaking, an Amon can only target one person to burst him down. Yes, there's some collateral damage with the ultimate, but I want someone that could consistently go in and clean up. Therefore, that's where the Leomord comes in. So I really respect what Incendio and Supremacy has done, but for now, it feels like a party happening at the bottom side.
Oh, it's a lot of members from MDH.
Yeah, man.
Are they even like trying to concede the early turtle fight? Just amount of people that they're deploying here. Nard might be there for the follow, but Apex 47 will not bite the bait.
This is why the glue is meta. So oppressive, and with Rosa coming in, and Tienzi out of nowhere with the Phantom Steed just riding along, picking up first blood over in the XP lane.
Yep, just picking up something that he is supposed to do. Basically, that's why I was looking for the cleanup, right? Incendio, what their gameplay is to burst people down and then leave it up for TNZ to clean it up. But now Joga is already landing down as much shots as possible on that turtle, looking to use the ultimate on top of someone. Right now, MDH has to try to forfeit, but oh no, it's enemy Apex walking the wrong way.
Oh, those are the shards. He's going to be able to burst Apex down. Now TNZ caught, has the red tree, picks it up, backs away. It's a kill, traded in over for the turtle.
So Incendio Supremacy bought time because they know that without the purple buff, without the ultimate, Joga will not have that much presence in the turtle fight.
White! Rosa with the airstrike is able to survive, out-damaging Need My Help, and Nart. What?
Oh my god,
That was crazy.
That's the power of the Farsa, right? Basically landing down a feather airstrike right where he stands. But here go, another team fight.
That's just the combo coming in. The torn apart memory is going to be able to take the gold laner down. Joga dumps in, but the damage is not enough. Rosa once again able to survive. Tienzi coming in, zoning Joga away. Walks up like a Chad. It's just the Chad game. Incendio are Chads.
Turkish Chads. Not even delightful anymore. And because of how Apex and how TNZ just set it up, Sunshine was able to absorb every single turret energy away. And Sunshine is definitely going to get more gold as compared to his counterpart.
You cannot just be complacent if you're MDH. You always have to be on your toes because the moment that we saw the MGH just start that releasing their grip, bottom lane's already being pummeled down.
Oh, that's a lot of damage onto Hehe. Sunshine gonna be able to pick up a kill here. No, my goodness, Sunshine finds it in the last second. It's a double kill for Need My Help. It's a better trade for MDH. And now, it does seem like in terms of kills, they're getting back into it. Rosa with Feather Airstrike forcing Need My Help to flicker out.
I think you're training a gold laner for a gold laner. I think it's still okay, especially when, you know, Sunshine is only one death, right? And don't forget, Incendio is already, in terms of gold, he's super ahead, especially after Sunshine just landing down the damage on top of the turrets. But let's take a look at the emblems. Anything that Wolf, what do you think is actually popping up for you?
I think the choice coming out from the Brody this time, which is the killing spree.
The Divine Judgment onto Joga. Nart able to save his jungler with the Tyrant's Rage. But just like that, no retribution on Joga. And that means it's a free turtle over for the Turkish Incendio Supremacy.
So timing.
The killing spree choice now for Sunshine is totally different from the Brody that we saw earlier on with the Weapon Master, right? So I would assume that there will be a time where Incendio Supremacy will snap and activate that Turkish Delight once again. Maybe in the mid game, maybe around 7-8 minutes. We're gonna be grouping up together, wanna try to outrun MDH and just take the turrets after one another.
Yeah, but it's going to be Nart engaging, bouncing ball onto Apex 47.
It's a good read, but it's only onto the Roamer right now. That's the Phantom Thing with the flanks and the Feather Airstrike to just melt down the Cold Altar. TNZ with the double, running Nart down. That's the bouncing ball to stop the engage. And Incendio just are happy with a 2-for-0. Backing up for a bit. Nart charging the Tyrant's Revenge, but Alien stops him in his tracks.
Absolutely delightful, right? You can see the power of Leoma right there. Just counteract every single thing that what Need My Help wants to do. Looking at the items, already a Hunter Strike, already available for TNZ. Not only just the fact that he's going to do a lot more penetration, he's going to have that movement speed buff in order for him to chase down any targets. It's all up to Nart to activate the bouncing ball at the right timing so that TNZ doesn't have that follow-up.
And that is why you saw the theory on Leomord, why it can be good against the Faramis, because what you do is that you chuck down your opponents with the Farsa, and when they activate the Cult Altar, they are gonna be stunned up because their HPs are low. When the shield has run out, you actually stun them, which is not gonna be in favor of the Faramis users. And you saw the Oathkeeper just deal so much damage against the members of MDH after the Cult Altar is done, and it gave a lot of map control now for Incendio Supremacy. Now they're trying to push top.
Yeah, they're definitely going to push top. Sunshine Nart is actually just jumping right in front of Incendio.
It's gonna fall! Oh my god, it's a fadeaway! Nart gets a Tyrant's Rage, but it's all in desperation. Apex 47 is still alive and Sunshine picks up a double. It's a dominant game. Incendio are absolutely steamrolling their opponents.
Incendio is just burning MDH alive, using Sunshine as basically like a siege unit as well. They are so greedy in this one, taking not only just the turtle, but also at the top side.
turrets,
They are so ahead, and MDH need to find some way with Nart, find a good engage, hopefully catching Sunshine.
All right, what can they do, right? If you take a look at the replay here, Wolf, tell us what they could have done better, because it feels like Incendio are just so far ahead.
They're under their turrets. They already have that condition. However, they were pincered. And Nart activated the ultimate quite too late. If it had been an early ultimate usage and just sacrificed himself, it could have been totally different. But MDH are not reading what INC is doing. They're not willing to sacrifice like the smaller pieces so that their late game comp can have a strength in the late game.
Nart jumps in, but it's only to get poked down. Free turret, tier 1, taken down. TNZ with Phantom Steed chasing Joga down. What?
What?
Then the Shards just did nothing. Holy moly.
Nothing.
How?
Didn't even, it took a shield out, I guess.
Yeah, just that's a big problem, right? The biggest amount of damage as an assassin was just nullified by one shield. That's how far TNZ is ahead against
Radiant Armor.
That's why.
With the Radiant Armor as almost like a second completed item, there is no way Joga can find assassination on his counterpart.
Well, that's very smart if you think about it, because he knows that even when he's not an actual frontliner, Leomord is almost like a frontliner because you're always on the front. You're always trying to fight. Radiant Armor nullifies the Ghost Bursters as well as the damage coming out from Amon. Knowing that he will be in the front lines anyways, so that the others can set up, all he had to do was to sustain. Yes, he does have the Hunter Strike for the damage, but he'll be outputting a lot more attacks because of the Radiant Armor.
Yep, and in order to, he can survive even longer, right? He's gonna stomp down MDH, Feather Ashai going in, now it's also a Lightning Chunk in as well. It's gonna be also the King trying to look for something.
Looking for a Divine Judgment on the other side, and Sunshine just takes the kill. Just no counterplay there. MDH, they tried their best. Well, they did defend the tier 2, but it's all for a kill over to Incendio, and now they have full control of the Lord that just spawned.
Maybe some miscommunications coming out from MGH is definitely not a good move coming out from King. Sure, you have the Petrify. You can take out the Farsa, but with this amount of lead coming out from Incendio Supremacy, you'll easily be punished by your opponents, as we saw in the clash.
I feel like the Benedetta right now, as we're looking at the Lord, basically giving absolutely free over the side of Incendio. I think what the King needs to do is what he's doing right here. Try to split push, try to create some pressure opposite of the map. But at the same time, it's also going to be MDH trying to patrol around the map and try to sneak away turrets as much as possible.
Blade of Despair already picked up by TNZ, together with the Hunter Strike. And the fact that MDH are just getting demolished by the damage output of both the Brody as well as the Farsa. This Leomord is now activated. We have not even talked much about the Kaja and how great it is against the punishment of MDH. So in Incendio Supremacy, you have all of their ingredients together. Their Turkish delight is waiting.
Siege down below. The King, 1-2 basic attacks, and he's already so low. Remember, Brody, most of his damage comes in from the stacks with the torn apart memory. So if he's able to melt down opponents just like that with 2 basic attacks, man, you're in for a lot of damage. Incendio just picking turrets off left and right, mid, bottom, and even the top side has been taken down. Base turret passive is going to be taken down as well, one by one, as they look to siege down below. The Predator's airstrike taken off. What? That's so much damage. Hehe is down to a quarter of his HP. with one feathered airstrike shot.
That's the whole point of Rosa, right? Your main goal is to not kill anyone. Your main goal is to have enough damage to push people away. Look at him. He has the clock, he has the lightning trunking, holy crystal already. Definitely going into the divine glaive already. But there you go, conceal play going in. It's going to be now charging up.
Oh, Nart not going to be able to find anything here. The Phantom Steed comes in and the Divine Judgment too. Nart pulled back to the team. Feather airstrike pop. They need my help. Going to be melted down. 1 HP. He's 1 HP, but he's still able to survive. The base, however, is going to be taken very low. The king going to be immobilized. That's a Torn Apart Memory. The Endless Shard does nothing. Need my help has been slain, and so has MDH. Incendio take it 2-0. Clean sweeping. MDH.
Incendio supremacy, showing supremacy in the lower brackets. They will be going up against the next challenger, which is Team Hawk.
Oh, man.
I am lost for words. The aggression that you saw coming out from Incendio Supremacy was because of the fact that they played the early game so well. They knew what they needed to do in the early stages. They have found their openings in the turtle fights. They made sure that the bottom lane is not going to be stomped by the carry and the Faramis. They know what they needed to do. Alien was on point with the laning stage. It wasn't that he was able to stop the Benedetta from getting anything out of the map. But Farsa had his damage output intact, and Leomord played this so well. Everybody picking up their own weight. And that's the reason why the Turkish are going to advance in the lower brackets.
Man, the representative for Turkey showing delight, showing pain against MDH. It is really a tough game to watch if you're a MDH fan. But congratulations over to Incendio. They will be able to go up in the brackets. But I still
did kind of rough in the group stage.
And I'm an American. I'm going to call it how I see it. It was a little bit rough.
Timing.
I think I would have liked to show more here, honestly. But it seems like, I mean, you have some of those picks, you have that capabilities, but that is not going to happen. We do have the Lolita. That's what's on the map. And, I mean, hopefully it is a comfort. We know it's a comfort pick for Shark. He just needs to use it to its full capabilities.
Honestly, I feel like they could have unlocked Shark here, right? Because you already have Fredrin. He can look for the engages. He can also peel as well. I would have liked to see something along the lines of Kufra. And honestly, a Mincetar didn't seem that out of the ordinary. But hey, again, out-of-pocket picks. We're seeing the Atlas and as well as Grok. Really smart drafting coming up from Coach Zico here. Putting Hoon in the back position, and now he has to forcibly take control over the lane by himself if Super Strike has to go elsewhere in this Melissa.
Well, I like both. I mean, I gotta say, I do like both drafts here. Again, I think for the Valley, it's really just overlapping those ultimates properly, because that's the struggle we're talking about from the group stages, where it was a similar lineup, but when you were mistiming or actually not overlapping your ultimates in the right way, especially the Noon on Blast, the way you're using that, that's where it kind of falters, right? So, meanwhile, Burn X Flash, like we said, they're very aggressive. And a lot of that aggression is actually calculated, and it works out well for them. So, hopefully, the Valley, with what they have, they're able to kind of withstand that fire from Burn X Flash.
I mean, how long can they actually hold that fire through? I don't know. I'm leaning more towards more traditional Southeast Asian style of gameplay. And Burn X Flash, to me, I feel like they've got a really good draft. Something that Fried Chicken needs to cut the backline as soon as possible. Because if he doesn't, this game is going to swap real quick.
Well, already, as we see we take a look at the emblems and everything else, right? It is going to be Chima, by the way, running this jungle emblem on the Ling. So he's going to be he wants to match the Fredrin jungle, right? You want to contest those objectives, get that quick jungle farm going here, and just kind of work around that. Also, I feel like there's been a debate, right? What works best on this side lane Grok, the XP lane Grok? Is it the weapon mastery? Is it the high and dry? Well, this time, I'm Your A Team is going to run with the weapon mastery, but already the fight for this orange.
Let's see whether you can get out of here. I think for now, wait, hold on.
Hold on, Fwide has to use the flicker. Wow. Is getting slowed down, the chase with Chima. This could be bad for Fwide, able to get a little bit of shield, forces the dash, able to get that getaway though, and still delay Chima, so almost a plus there.
Now that actually worked out really well. Fried Chicken wasting a lot of Chima's time, allowing Bobazane to, get on towards his next buff and actually evening out the overall EXP and farm. Despite the fact that Little Wanderer might not have been the biggest thing in the world, it's all about that level 4. However, Fried Chicken is going to need some help, and Hoon is here to make that difference.
I do like it. Hoon wants to come into ATM there. ATM forced to use a flicker. That is a utility gone. If you look at the minimap, though, Chima is making his way downtown right now, trying to see if he can make a play happen, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be too much. Still 20 seconds on the clock until the turtle comes.
Yeah, so both these teams, I mean, early battle spells going down here. Nothing too much, though. Just kind of holding off for now because they both want to just wait for that first big objective to come up here. Now, biggest thing is, I'm your ATM's not going to have that flicker available, so you're not going to be able to expect that crazy wild charge from him. But still, when you're fighting in that objective, this is the best place for Gronk, right? You have walls everywhere around you, and you can see them. They're even positioning this turtle so they have that advantage. And they're going to force the Valley to respond to this and work for it.
Yeah, it does seem like Shark's going to keep D7 at bay right now, but Chima still holds the presence. Mobazane takes the turtle. A nice play. Fried Chicken, though, caught in the midst of I'm Your ATM, trying to get away. Caught in that real manipulation, but he does get away, and D7 goes down. It's a 1-for-0 trade, and the turtle goes to the side of the Valley.
That's what we want to see from the Valley, and especially from Fried Chicken. He is supposed to be the difference maker in this early to mid-game to set the Valley up for success. Basically, he's stuck here with Hessa.
Oh, Hessa gets stunned, tries to use Mom Force, able to get the dash, but still, the pressure from the Valley right now is felt across the land of Dawn.
I like this too. I mean, just with that early objective take, you taking a look at the items here. I mean, nothing too crazy, right? But still, this early on, this minor gold advantage will scale really well for the Valley. Now, the biggest thing is for Burnex Flash. We've seen this before with Atlas. Do they get those Fatal Links off? Now you're working against 2 Purifies, 3, again, or maybe even 4 in terms of hero usage. But going against that, that's all you have to solve. Avoid that Atlas and kind of spin away. The biggest thing about carry, though, is if an Atlas goes towards you and you kind of use that Purify, you dash away, you shred tanks so quickly, and that can be really bad news here for Burnex Flash. They've got to play around that. Chima also has to be careful here as well. But already trades early on in the jungle, Mobazane not letting go at all.
I love that right now. And this is the aggression that we wanted to see. And I think Hoon picking up this Lilia instead of the Yve or something of that nature, it gave them that mid-wave clear, and it gave them the ability to rotate around quickly.
Yeah, not only just rotating around quickly, the fact that Fried Chicken has bought so much time and now is a level ahead of I'm Your ATM. Look at Mobazane. He's already a level up on Chima, who has the Demon Slayer. Again, you shouldn't expect that to happen, but yes, they were able to get that first turtle, but it shouldn't make that much of a difference. So I think the Valley most likely can start putting resources down onto the bottom side of the map to make sure that Basic get his farm and get his items fast.
Take a look at D7. Just waited patiently.
So worried that D7 was about to come in there, but now with the turtle up, Mobazane is going to start on it. D7, C-Cat, and Hessa trying to make a play in. D7 does have that ultimate with the Fatal Links.
Oh, Shark!
But there's the Numenon Blast. Super Shark coming down, but the Tempest of Blades locks on. This is a bloodbath. Shark very low. Hessa able to find him. Shark falls. Turtle has gone to the side of the Valley, though. Mobazane trying to run away from Hessa. Hessa and ATM pick him up. Mobazane falls to the 2-for-1 trade, and the Turtle goes to the Valley.
I'm a little confused there. I mean, I don't know if you saw Basic, but it looked like he could have helped out there towards the mid lane, but decided to run up towards the top side. But still, everything that just happened there, it was a great set with the Numenon Blast from Super Shark. And if he can continue to do that, that is going to be the best case scenario for them. So Basic going to be forced back here. And still, across the board, the Valley holding on to that little bit of gold lead. They're continuing to build it on here. They have some of their first items locked in too. I think that one of the big things is you have to allow Basic to get farm up on this carry. He's only got that corrosion sight here. Of course, Mobazane running with a cursed helmet. He's going to be trying to just continue to clear through the jungle as fast as possible. And that's the thing. Hessa already having that first item on this Harith, he's got that mystery shop. If he continues to farm up here, he will be pretty much a big threat towards the Valley, but the concealed play coming out.
Concealed play. Shark does get the stun on a D7. Hessa drops the Zaman's force. Mobazane will get stunned up here. Fatal Links does locks on. Brings Mobazane onto the tower. C-Cat with the road manipulation, but Mobazane is still standing. Rest of the Valley decides to back off, so a bit of a misplay there. Not able to succeed, but no one goes down just yet. Basic and Hoon still want to try to force the objective here, maybe being a bit too aggressive, but they want to make this tower fall. CCAT just can't get through the Bulwark shield. Finally, the invasion stops and the Valley backs off.
So much value coming in from Burnex Flash. Like while this dive was happening on towards the Valley, happening on the top side of the map, we look at the bottom side, they're able to actually return the gold in back into their favor. And now with an objective down, it's starting to get a little tough. D7, he's already had a 92 team participation, ranked second in M4 so far. He's about to make it almost 100%.
Fried Chicken dives in with the bravest warrior, bravest fighter. Wait a second, Super Shark with the flicker. Zane finds the turtle. Tima, I'm your ATM, forced to try to run away, but the Valley doesn't want to stop the chase. No, wait. Yes, they do, and I think they're going to try to take the tower for themselves.
Well, they got a clean sweep on the Turtles. Objective, that's the name of the game here for the Valley, and they're doing exactly that. They should be able to get another turret here, too. Bottom side. But even Hoon there, just trying to find an angle if he can. Top side, though.
Look at Chicken. Hessa had a little bit of an advantage over Basic, but he can't mess with that Lapu Lapu right now. But still, the game isn't too far apart. It could definitely go anyway.
Yeah, and I think right now Burn has a little bit more flexibility when it comes to how they want to play across the map, because the Valley, they want to stick together. They want to make sure that Burn, if they fight, we have the counter engaged ready and we can start peeling. But Burn, with the mobility that they have with Hessa, and more importantly, what Ling gives access to with on your ATM opening up the map and getting that information, the side lanes are always under a lot of threat.
Again, this is the thing, right? I mean, one kind of growth that you've seen from Mobazane is this utility tank type jungle play style, right? I mean, it's something that he learned his time pretty much internationally, and he's doing it well. And these small objective wins obviously build you this little bit of a gold lead that you have, and it transitions for your game, and everybody kind of profits off of that. So that's what we're seeing from the Valley so far. Burnex Flash, all they need to stop that in their tracks, though, is a great set from D7, and like you saw from the earlier statistic, this is the man to do it, right? And they've got great follow-up, too. Hessa, though, Hessa getting to the point, again, he's still working on that third item. He's got the Feather of Heaven here. Also, the other thing that I'm wondering is CCAT on this Eve, already having the Ice Queen wand, able to pump out a lot of slows and damage alone. What happens when, let's say, a Genius wand is locked in, and then you're reducing all that magic damage, and it's so front-loaded, you can't get out of that death box here for the Valley. Those are big things for Burnex Flash, as now we look to the next objective, the Lord.
Exactly, and again, Burnex Flash, their composition is that flexible, even team fights, with the synergies of heroes that they have. We're looking at D7 and CCAT to make all that difference there with on your ATM if he has the opportunity to see Basic locked against the wall or even remotely close to it. He could get an incredible knockup that could change the game. And that's the playmaking capabilities that all these heroes provide compared to the Valley, who have a very standard style of gameplay. Want to peel back, come at us. We're going to defend from every single attack you have. We don't necessarily have to be aggressive unless you're Fried Chicken.
Most definitely. I think the major problem I'm seeing from the Valley, though, if we want to pick things apart, they haven't turned this gold lead into any major tower objectives. In all technicality, it's not a lot, but they're still losing right now in the ground, in overall material. So they need to, if they're going to get these kills, if they're going to find something, they have to turn it into more.
Well, I think a big part of that, again, is what Gideon just mentioned. You know, you really have to, it's almost, you rely on the Noon on Blast setup if you can. Other than that, you're just trying to bait out ultimates from Burnex Flash, whereas Burnex Flash has, what, 3 options? Wild Charge, the Real World Manipulation, the Fatal Links. There's so many options here for them. So even with the lead that the Valley has, they have to be very careful how they go in.
Chicken coming in, speaking of going in, but he gets knocked up. The Wild Charge takes out Fried Chicken, but Hessa picks up the kill. Now, by the Lord, Mobazane is trying to chip away at a D7, getting brought very, very low. Basic finds it, first kill for him. Tima with the Tempest of Blades, locks on to Basic, but Zane still takes the Lord. It's a 2-for-1 trade, but the Lord goes to the side of the Valley. Is that a fair trade, though? Hold on, still trying to go. Hessa wants more. They know they lost the Lord, but they want to take some objectives, so they take another tower away from the Valley.
It's looking really good, honestly. And Burn, they understand their options. They really know that if we're going to execute, we might as well full commit. And the only person who can dictate the tempo from the side of the Valley is Fried Chicken. Everybody else is designed to bait out an ultimate or to slowly whittle them down so that they can fully commit to a fight. And Burn fully understand this. So I don't know what Coach Zico did, but he has prepared his team extremely well.
Yeah, and taking a look at the items too. Hold on, they're still going here.
D7, but the problem is they keep on focusing D7. It's just too tanky. They have to find a way to find Chima here or someone in that back line like Hessa.
Well, they're still hunting, right? They've got to deal with this Lord here on the bottom side. Not sure if the Valley wants to do anything. Look at the push, though. Top side from Chima. So able to just make a play regardless of that Lord take from the Valley. They're going to be focusing here finally on the tier 1, though.
Chima takes a lot of damage from basic, but just not enough. Finally, they take a tower, the Valley, trying to hold up against this, and this just shows that, you know, a 1,000 gold lead doesn't mean anything when you're in this mid-game right now.
Yeah, and more importantly so, I think the Valley understand that they want to get Basic in a position where he can just hard carry the game because the rest of their team members, other than Hoon at this point, don't scale as hard. And Mobazane, he is just a stun bot. It's like, yes, come at me, use as many abilities as possible because the real carry is got me my back.
Yeah, you really have to rely here on Basic once again. And earlier, actually hold that thought. Conceal
Chima
play.
does use the Tempest of Blades to get away, though, so no big action just yet.
Okay, going back to the items here, right? I mean, so this is what it feels like to be in this chair, but still, the glowing wand, I'm telling you, man, the glowing wand is going to be a problem. He's already got 2 wands. I don't know if he's going to go for the 3rd, but still, the fact that CCAT has this, you have the death box, he's also running in pure rage, right? So this works out so well for him. He can whittle down the members of the Valley, and they can work around that. So the Valley, though, you saw them. Mobazane, stun bot, if you will. He has the Radiant Armor, too. So he's going to be that front line. You also have Fried Chicken and Super Shark. All he needs to do is land those Numenor blasts. And Lord advantage-wise, I mean, look at the Valley. The gold urn, it's not there for them. The turret HP, though, they're still working around it, trying to get space around the map for them.
Yeah, I mean, they have more material now at the very least, but now the items are coming in. Hessa getting his Holy Glaive, that in and of itself is nasty, and you have to be extremely careful because if you're looking at the Valley, you're thinking about itemization. Yes, I want to be able to protect myself, but then you have the glowing wand, the genius wand reducing my magic resist even more. This mid lane, I don't think this is going to break out into the fight until we see Basic starting to walk up with the rest of the team. But for now, the Valley needs to show as if they want to aggress, as if they want to take the initiative.
Most definitely, with the Lord down to about 75% health, Zane will start that initiative.
Look at D7.
Chima trying to make his way up, but on your ATM, he's going to keep watching. Got to keep an eye on D7 here, hiding out in this bush, waiting to make that big play, but Basic and Super Shark as well, holding down the mid bush. This is a standoff. This will end big. This Lord could end up being one of the deciding factors in this game, but here comes the conceal play. D7 trying to come around the back, looking for something, but Fried Chicken does find Hessa. D7 locks on with the Fatal Links, but he still goes down. 2 members down for Burn X Flash. The Valley take the Lord and 2 members along with him.
Nicely done. The turnaround is already looking so good. D7 couldn't find anything despite catching only 1.
And did you see that? Exactly what we said about the Atlas. The downside there is you get there, Basic just dashes away, shreds you down, and you have no option, right? Again, even Super Shark being able to peel on this Lolita is working out great for them. Maybe he just learned from the group stages, comes in with that refined play style, and it's working out great. Hoon, like you said, he's just kind of whittling down Burn X Flash, right? That's all he has to do on this Lilia, and if he can bait out ultimates, even better.
And he's really safe in doing so, because no one can quote-unquote catch him unless you use a big spell to lock him down. The Black Shoe's such a powerful tool for Hoon. He can basically do whatever he wants and feel like he's unstoppable, because no one's going to punish him.
Most definitely. Now the Lord is crashing. Let's see if they can punish. Burn, but look at Chicken into the backside. This could be bad for CCAT, taking a lot of damage. Away Chicken finds it, does not go down, but D7 also connects. D7 brought very, very low. Fried Chicken pops the immortality. Gonna come back up onto the field as Hessa, Chima, and ATM try to defend this push. 2 inhibitors down. 1 more to go as Chima tries to clear away this minion so that the Valley just can't do it, but they don't want to stop just yet. D7 working his way out. Valley staying aggressive. Zane moves on to ATM. ATM does go down. Hessa pops to the Zamon's force, trying to lock onto Hoon. Just cannot find him because the Bulwark Shield is blocking it all. Chima will be next. The Valley now moving on to the base. D7 tries to get the stun, but he's getting shredded by Basic. And now it's nothing but Hessa gets stunned, and the Valley will take game 1.
Beautifully done. GG, well played. Going over to the Valley as they take the first game in this best of 3, and they did it in spectacular fashion. What we thought was, hey, we're gonna take our time with this. We see Hoot saying, no, let's speed up the tempo. They're disrespecting us. We're gonna take the space and we're gonna hold our ground.
You know, it's nice to see them smile once in a while, right? I mean,
He's still not smiling. He's still not.
He's chugging, he's hydrating. That's what he needs to do, right? Again, that was honestly, it was still a pretty intense game between.
We also see the Wan in the glue from the side of the Falcon, so nothing too targeted just yet.
I'm feeling the Valley wants to pick the E first, right? The Kaj is there. I'm wondering what. Okay, never mind. They want to ban it, right? Because I was gonna say if they don't, then they're looking to prioritize the carry. So now the ball's in BurnX Flash's court. Do you want to actually leave the carry open here? They took out the 1-1 already. They could ban it out, but if they don't, there's a high chance that it does go in the hands of the Valley.
No, that is very, very true. I think, for BurnX Flash, they could purposefully just let the carry through, only to have a potential counterpick later on. But even then, it's still rather risky for the later stages of the game. So personally, for me, I would just get rid of the carry, take that option away, so that people like D7 can actually start playing the game with harder tanks that like to initiate.
Oh, but they decide to ban out the Joy instead. So yes, high pick possibility with the carry here. There she goes. I know that voice anywhere.
I feel like a lot of people at this point know that voice. They're just like, yeah, that's carry locked in. So again, I feel like Gideon, what is off the top of your head? What's a great way to counter into this carry? Now you know that it's going to be shredding things down, and if it comes online, it's really hard to deal with.
Personally, for me, I'm thinking about people who can push the waves and really threaten her. Valentina is already a good choice. The Lapu Lapu, rather interesting. I would have preferred to see what the support pick was going to be. I feel like BurnX Flash is putting a lot of emphasis on seeing what the enemy is going to do first before locking in their support. But at the end of the day, when you're thinking about the mid lane matchup, yes, Valentina is going to be great, but then you have people like Farsa, for an example, even the Melissa as well. The Lilia is always so value in terms of just hard pushing waves and forcing the Valentina backwards. So then you force it into a 2v2. Then you have to force it to 3v3 if you need 5 chicken to come on in for these neutral objectives. So how many resources do they have to pack in towards the mid lane for the side of the Valley?
I mean, that's a big question here. In a couple of seconds, we're going to see this. I'm wondering, too, if they do Benedetta into the Lapu Lapu pick. There's the Lolita, picked up again after a massive game. And like you guys mentioned, Farsa was a great choice, too. So, I mean, Farsa alone is already... The damage is obviously there with the Feathered Airstrike. But it is something that you will have to work against because you have Valentina across from you. So now you've got that potential of 2 Feathered Airstrikes going off. But maybe that's also something that they want. They want to either force you to take, is it the Feathered Airstrike? Do you take the Noon on Blast? Now you're playing with these options in the midst of the game where what works best for the situation. So that's another kind of process that has to be made here from BurnX Flash that could, again, make you trip over all that process.
There goes the Hayabusa. Before I talk about that, even more to dig into that Farsa a bit, I mean, the Lapu Lapu is like, back in the day, the sworn counter almost to dive in onto that. So not only do you have this possible steal from Valentina, you also have someone that heavily counters you now. D7 picking up this Hayabusa. We've seen good things from Hayabusa, but if Mobazane decides to once again go a bulkier jungle, he's gonna have to do a lot of work around to get to his targets.
I feel like he's gonna play a Kai this game, and it's gonna be so boring. Like, come on, Mobazane, go further. You can work with your team. Give me a Granger to pair up with this Farsa, and you and Hoon are gonna be shooting people down from halfway across the map.
It's dangerous though.
It's dangerous. You gotta live on the edge, man. It is the American dream here. You gotta push yourself to the limits to know what greatness truly is.
I feel like people are just, like, when you see a Kai, it's one of those junglers where it's that meme, where the meme is they poking it with a stick and saying, do something, basically. He does. He heavy spins, right? That's something. So Franco's going to be banned out here. Roaming options kind of dwindling a little bit, but there's still a lot available for BurnX Flash to at least complement what they have here. Now, even with the Hayabusa being locked into the jungle, it's something that you always have to be conscious of. I mean, typically we see Hayabusa Ling matchups, but I'm not betting on Mobazane to play the Ling, right? He probably will default to maybe something more utility-based, like you said. Aside from the Akai, we've seen Barrett's come up a lot. That's also why the Martis was banned here, because that is another kind of utility, very hard to catch jungle with the way that his kit works. So I'm wondering, does Burnex Flash use another ban to target the jungle here? It's going to be the Fredrin, so pretty much is.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that they're banning at these particular jungles. The Fredrin, of course, because again, Hayabusa is like, oh, I'm going to try and one-shot you. Oh, I'm taunted and I'm going to get one-shot. Not the most fun in the world. Same thing goes for Martis, especially if you can land the Shura's Wrath. As soon as you get stunned, you're in a lot of trouble. And Super Shark on the Lolita is rather frustrating with his charge, so might as well minimize the problems as much as you can. But if we're talking about bans for the Valley against Burn X Flash, what they're missing right now, support options. They got rid of the Franco.
Your team is picking.
Wow, okay. They got rid of the Lunox. They got rid of the Lunox. I haven't seen Lunox in like, what, how many seasons already? 2, 3? But then again, I'm from Malaysia, so I see it randomly.
I've heard that Hessa has picked up the Lunox Stone Golden like in past, not here. I've heard it is like a hot pick for him, right?
It's kind of the same.
Yeah. I mean, she's popped up, I feel like, a couple times here, but even more so, regardless, it's something that you don't expect to be banned, because even if it's picked up, you still have a way to work around it, aside from, you know, the burst that she brings. But meanwhile, the next pick for Burnex Flash is the Grok here. And we've seen this work, and it hasn't. But take a look at that heated quote, by the way, from Mobazane.
I'm looking at you, Trex. You got to do it in exactly the way me and Niso are looking at each other. We know exactly how you want you to say it.
Cambodia, forget about it.
Yes! Yes! Okay, all right. That makes me happy. But now we see the Barat already locked in, as well as the Esmeralda.
She's back.
They heard you talking.
My blood is boiling. My blood is boiling. I need the high pressure blood pills. I can feel it rising up to my head right now. Is this the old meta? What are they looking to do? They have the Grok to cancel out the feathered airstrike, and now you have Esmeralda to take what shield?
I don't know. It does make sense on why they banned the Lunox, right? Like to not you're gonna bring this tankiness. I'm not saying it had any right mind forward, but there it is.
So you're saying
I don't know.
You're saying they're not right in their mind.
I mean, who is?
Hey man, I mean, to be fair, even
America.
if we're thinking about Lunox being the casual counter to the Esmeralda, there's still lane bullies as well. I mean, there's the Dairoth, there's the Dairoth. There's so many things that could be done, but it's going to be the final pick coming in for Burnex Flash. They go for the Claude. I like that very much, and honestly, the Valley probably foresaw that. They're not expecting the Irithel. They want something that goes in and out, and the only marksman that fits that build is Natan as well as the Claude.
You know, so just looking at what Burnex Flash has, it's a very flashy kind of go in, go out composition here. And I feel like that kind of chaotic playstyle, exactly what they're known for. And if it's going to be too much, if it's too much fire to handle, if it's too hot to handle here for the Valley, this could be potentially the 3-game series that we're actually looking for here on the desk. And still, the Valley with having that Esmeralda too, I'm really interested to see if she still fits here in at least M4 in this current meta.
Look, I'm just tired of the Valley saying, all right, Basic, you're gonna create a really big backpack. We're all gonna help you lift it and eventually jump in it towards the end of the game. But it's time. It's gonna be game number 2 here at the lower brackets of M4. The Valley up against Burnex Flash. Game number 2.
Well, this is going to be a crucial game here for both these teams. And I know we're going to see it just kind of unfold, right? Starting in the jungle here. Again, Mobazane opting for this Barrett's pick, going to do pretty much the same game plan he had from previously. So if it's anyone to stop him, D7 actually playing this roam Grok here could work out really well for them to try his best to find picks early on, to find possibly even Mobazane and contest these objectives, because you don't want to give them that clean sweep they had in the previous match.
Well, absolutely not. And, you know, that's when you see Fried Chicken actually taking full advantage of the situation. Yo, Lapu Lapu, you're not going to beat me until level 4. I have to put you as far down into the dirt as possible and let my team take the little wanders and let my team spread their influence through the mid lane.
I think something else that is going to be very important for the Valley is how Moon rotates in these early stages on that Farza. Can they make some plays happen here? Can they stop Burnex Flash having this Hayabusa be aggressive? Because I think if the Valley can get to the mid or even the late game with at least the stalemate, they can definitely win out in this.
Well, I mean, Shima's level 4 here. Mobazane is as well. First turtle, though, still a little bit away. So poking back and forth, I mean, at this point, you just have both teams kind of waiting, right? Waiting for that objective. Now, still, I would say that given the team lineup for the Valley, the way they're going to fight around objectives is very strong, but still, it's going to be up to Burnex Flash to really kind of get in and get out. And if that just means Chima, you know, quad shadowing in there, getting the retribution off, and if that's the safest thing, it could be best case scenario.
Bonus welcome, tries to lock on, but Chima able to stop it. This could be bad for Mobazane, taking a lot of damage, gets stunned up, and ATM finds the kill for D7. Now, Shark, Fried Chicken and Shark trying to battle around this. They decide to back off, but first blood does go to the side of Burn.
Wait, what happened there? I thought that Daytona's welcome was gonna eat Chima, but then it didn't. Did he quad shadow out of the way, or did he
went into
him? He went into him. That is smart. That is smart. Lost in the chaos.
Nope, that's what they're known for, right? I mean, Burnex Flash does it really well, and as we were saying, we were kind of painting that picture. That chaos can be overwhelming here, right? The fire can be pretty hot, and just taking a look at the items, things kind of establishing here, almost 3 minutes in the game, they're still going to be able to play. It's a very minuscule gold lead for Burnex Flash, but still, big things that are going to come up here too is exactly this different dynamic with the Grok here, where you're going to be building more of that tank, you know, pretty much that tank roam Grok, not the damage that we're used to seeing.
Come in,
They're gonna back off. Yeah, they're gonna back off. I mean, they need to take their time. They don't want to get locked up.
D7 gets the knock up onto Hoon, and in comes ATM, locking onto Super Shark. The airstrike does come down, misses most of them, lands one, does a little bit of damage, but nobody goes down.
Beautiful defense. I mean, Hoon gets out of there with 5 wings, having to use that flicker, and now, I mean, in the minds of Burnex Flash, they already punished Mobazane. He has to restack himself up to become a nice big dinosaur boy. But Chima, he is making sure he is trying to put pressure on that map. And the only profit that they got were 2 flickers, one from their playmaker, Super Shark, and as well as Hoon. So they're keeping in mind and telling you, I'm your ATM, get ready to jump on Hoon.
Again, you can find Hoon, you can try your best here for Burnex Flash, but still, you have that mobility kind of advantage. This is very finicky for them, especially with Chima on this Hayabusa. You've got Hessa going in with the BMI. Blazing Duet gets out. So I feel like that's a big challenge for the Valley here specifically. And on top of that, again, the dynamic changes with what ultimate CCAT takes, right? And what he decides to throw at the Valley here. Still, it's a very objective focused game for the Valley, and that's kind of your game plan the whole time, because if you're trying to fight Burnex Flash face to face here, you're gonna get your ankles broken basically at this point. So next turtle comes up here. We'll see if they find the positioning and the space that they need to take this next turtle.
I'm seeing that I'm your ATM is missing his ult. It looks like he may have tried to get into an altercation with Fried Chicken, but it seems like nothing came of it. And the same can be said. Chima, he's lost at least 50% of his HP. I don't think anything's going to be happening here. This is like a very awkward wet noodle fight.
Yeah, CCAT has taken that feathered airstrike though, so we need to keep our eyes open for that. And down it comes, trying to zone Hoon away. Mobazane is close to this turtle right now. Chima also trying to fight it out, but Fried Chicken takes out CCAT. Chima able to take the turtle though. Hessa now trying to move on. Hoon does fall down. Fried Chicken on the run along with Super Shark and Mobazane, but it seems like Burn Flash doesn't want to let this up. Mobazane now coming out with the Daytona's welcome. Locks on to D7. Chomp, chomp into the wall, and down goes D7. Shark force use the flicker as the shadow comes in. Chima looks for it, can't find it, but still a fair trade for both teams.
Oh boy, I mean, I would still say that Burnex Flash still came up on top. A lot less battle spells being expanded, and now a big window for Burnex Flash to actually punish Fried Chicken now that he doesn't have his flicker. All he has is the Falling Star, but to get out of tough situations, which can easily dealt with Chima's OP shadow kill.
I mean, even taking a look at the items, it's still, again, it's pretty even across the board here. Still action.
Oh, Hoon with the feathered airstrike. Chima goes down. D7 does find the knockup onto Hoon, getting that stun for basic. Getting aggressive. ATM will fall. D7 force use a flicker, trying to get away, but now the Valley are starting to take control of this game.
Well, and with that, right, the minuscule gold lead that was in favor for Burnex Flash is gone here. And like you said, the backpack has started, right? It's going in the basic here. He's going to be able to grab that bottom turn on the bottom side. and still they're working, they're putting pressure.
Most definitely D7 trying to keep them away. And one thing is, we were worried about that Esmeralda, but Fried Chicken is coming through.
Yep, he's doing a really good job, and especially, I'm pretty sure he's like maxed out his average by now. At this stage, he's traded so often, and this is the first time we're seeing it. Look at Hoon. He's absolutely just frustrating and pushing Bird back, but this could be the counterattack that we're looking for. D7, keep your eyes on him.
Yeah, Mobazane is very deep, but he doesn't want to let up just yet. Did he take it?
Yep.
He steals the purple buff. Chima takes a lot of damage, can't dash in like that anymore. It's becoming a little too risky.
That was that was a risky decision, but it ended up paying out for them. So this is the thing, right? We're seeing a very synergized the Valley, right? This is something that we didn't see so much of in the group stage. So whatever happened in the past few days, they figured things out, and now they're going to be battling for this turtle here. But still, Burn X Flash has taken 2 of them. Can they get this one here for the Valley?
It's definitely not going to be easy, but Mobazane may be able to do it. Back in the backside, though. Super Shark with the flicker. Lands an on blast. Cat taken out. I'm your ATM. Tries to land, but connects no one. No. Hoon does get stunned. D7 trying to do something, but Mobazane takes Turtle. A nice big hit. ATM goes down. D7 could be next. Fried Chicken doesn't want to let up. He's going to chase. He's bulky. He's tanky. He's under the tower, and down goes D7. Chima up against this orange buff. Back against the wall, Super Shark and Hoon want to try to find him, but he should be able to flicker away safely.
I mean, they might still go on the hunt here. They've got the information. Yeah, Chima, he's going to run out of places to go. Let's see if he can juke them out.
I think he may be able to, but it seems like the Valley keeping it disciplined. They don't want to waste any time. They want to get something out of this.
Well, I mean, Fried Chicken, he checked the common spot. He knows that there is the Pixel Brush, but it's too late. It was a 50-50 there, and therefore, not worth his time. Back up towards the top lane. And now, looking at Farsa, Hoon, he's got the 2 core items. He just needs a little bit of time to start scaling up. He's already dishing out so much damage.
Yeah, not only that, too, but with Basic here now having that Wind of Nature available to him, or he's working on, he has the Corrosion Scythe here. That's going to be trouble, right? Still going to be working on the next core item, but still, you saw the recalls come out here. They're feeling confident. It is 4.2k gold ahead here. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. It's only 9 minutes into the game. Burn X Flash could still make a play here. The question is, where do they make it? That's the thing. And again, Cat really hasn't been able to utilize this Valentina just yet.
Oh, Fried Chicken in a bit of trouble. They want to lock onto him. The tower does fall. But right now that Esmeralda is so tanky. Hoon gets found by D7. Mobazane, wait a second, conceal play. Nice stun onto D7. Daytona's welcome. Tries to lock on, but they still find him. Basic finally doing some damage. Numenon Blast, no flicker to connect, so the Numenon Blast doesn't find the stun just yet. Basic and Shark gonna chip away at this lane, and I think the action is over.
Well, for now, for the time being, I mean, the fact that Cat was able to, sorry, not Cat, but D7 finding Hoon, this is a pretty good trade. However, topside is losing, topside tier 2 is already losing so much HP. It's basically free economy for the Valley. So if they want to get into that 5k gold lead and put Burn even further down, they can absolutely do so. And I think the Valley, they don't have to take the Lord now. They just need to keep putting up the pressure and choking out Chima.
Yeah, look at the way Zane is playing right now, just in their face. This is reminiscent to like Wise playing the Barats, jumping in there, even with the Esmeralda, very M3-esque right now.
Well, right now, total control here objectively. They get a turret. D7 going to check that bush, take a couple of hits here, but the fight for this Lord is going to ensue. Fried Chicken having a massive game so far in this Esmeralda, and they pursue it.
Most definitely, Mobazane. He's got it down to about 30%. Does seem like conceal play is going to come. D7 misses the wild charge. ATM misses the bravest fighter. Only gets a stun onto Super Shark. Chima comes in, but not in vain. Down goes D7. ATM may fall next. Basic on the chase. He finds it. That's a double. Hessa with the blazing duet, forced to BMI out. Fried Chicken does get found by Cat, and Chima tries to look for it, so it's a 2-for-1 trade, but the Lord still goes to the Valley.
And Valley, now with the 5k goalie, he's going to turn that into at least 7k deficit against Burn. You can see that Hessa is scaling up relatively quick with 3 items and a Malefic Roar, which helped him actually kill Fried Chicken towards the later half of that fight. But you have to admit that as of right now, D7, he has to use his flicker to close that distance. He had a good angle, but he could have guaranteed a hit had he just flickered forward. He's greeding out on his battle spell.
Now the Lord is coming in. Zane and Shark trying to hold down the front side. Hoon does not have that feathered airstrike, so he's not going to be able to help this siege effort. Down goes the Lord. Not too much material for the side of the Valley.
So very disciplined, right? The Valley here, they got a nice, comfortable gold lead. They're going to be taking the resources as well from Burn X Flash. Meanwhile, you got Fried Chicken walking that wave on the bottom side, looking for another turret here, opening up the map further. Can Burn X Flash defend against this siege?
Ooh, there goes Hoon with the feathered airstrike. ATM taking a bit of damage. They are able to open up the map a bit. And here in a second, with Fried Chicken cutting this lane, that should be another free tier 2 tower.
Let's see whether, I mean, the outer turrets are basically gone at this point, and the Valley, they're very confident once they have this lead. They know that Burn can't really do too much about the situation, and D7 has to really be careful with his power of natures, because as soon as his immunity to crowd control disappears, the Valley will jump upon him. So I think at this stage of the game, the Valley, let the waves push on out. Come on out of the base, and let's get into a brawl.
And I mean, even looking at the items, like you mentioned, you know, with Hessa having those 3 core items, he's got the Demon Hunter Sword, he's got the Golden Staff, Prolific Roar here on this Claude, and also CCAT had the Neuron Blast. Not sure if he's still holding on to it, but if they can get that set up, whether it's in the base defense or not, if they find 2-3 targets, it's overlapped with a great Blazing Duet Wild Charge combination. Burn X Flash isn't out of this, right? Despite that 5.7k gold lead for the Valley, they can set themselves up here for success, but what we've seen so far is the Valley not allowing that to happen. Here comes the conceal.
Possible conceal play, might be in vain though. CCAT able to flicker away. Keep our eyes on Hessa though, hiding out in this bush. D7 goes down, Hessa comes in with the Blazing Duet, but a nice winner Truncheon from Hoon. Down goes ATM, next will be Chima. Will Hessa get out of this? I don't think so, forced to flicker.
Wow.
And he falls, that's a maniac for Basic. His first one in M4. Now they're gonna try to close the distance here. Burn X Flash on the ropes.
Oh my lord, nothing gets past Fried Chicken. He saw that right at the very edge of his screen. The Blazing Duet, he foresaw it coming and immediately turned 180 around to deal with the problem. And now, this could be it.
This could definitely be it. The Numenon Blast does not connect, but they're going to be able to clear these waves. The Valley with the chokehold over Burn X Flash right now. Burn X Flash coming out of the base, though, trying to defend, and it looks like they will be able to do it. The Valley keeping it disciplined. They're going to go for this Lord and try to finish this off. But wait a second. Chima coming in. I'm your ATM with the bravest fighter. Gets a nice flicker. D7 comes in as well, but still not enough damage. Mobazane gonna get the Daytona's welcome. Burst him against the wall, and I'm your ATM will fall. Now, back to the Lord.
Oh my goodness. What's so unfortunate about this play is the fact that Burn had all the right ideas, executed as best as they can, but with an 8.7, 8.8k goal lead now, and they've already hit the 42, gone past the 42k mark. They're just literally one item away to making a difference in that fight.
I mean, it shows, right? It really shows in itemization for the Valley here. And that's what we see working so well for them. So they just secure themselves a Lord here. They're going to be getting ready for this Lord push. 10k gold ahead here. Burn X Flash is going to have a defense of a lifetime. And I'm not even sure if CCAT has an ultimate just yet with IMU, but as you said, Gideon, the backpack in full force here for Basic, but it's not even just that. I feel like everybody's got their own pack here because Super Shark, look at him, he's massive, 0-0-12 on a Lolita again for this match. And Fried Chicken, the big question mark, does Esmeralda still work here? It obviously does. And he's such a good distraction. That's something that works great for Esmeralda. And they're playing around that here. Not to mention Mobazane is also a big, huge dinosaur. And now they get ready for this siege on the base.
Most definitely the Lord creeping its way in along with Mobazane. Keep our eyes on Hoon as he does drop that feathered airstrike with the flicker to bait out the bravest warrior. Basic gonna shred down I'm your ATM. And this could be it. Down goes Chima and down goes Burn X Flash. CCAT, the last one standing. The Valley gonna bring out the recalls because tonight the Valley will not burn. They will go forth as Burn X Flash is going home sadly.
They have done it. The Valley continue their championship run from the lower brackets. They move on to deal with their next opponent. A breath of fresh air, but GG, well played. A 2-0 victory to the Valley, and our hearts go out to the representatives coming in from Cambodia, Burn X Flash.
Man, oh man, I'm sure there's some people in the chat right now type in the Valley dude because that was a performance